Right, we're live. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Tom. Evening, Paul.
We're one guest short as John is on his third laptop, fourth phone, trying to get working. Don't think the technology's in his part of the world is what it is where we are, but he'll
Typical
get
Sunderland fan, unorganised.
Plenty of people joining already. Nice to see everyone's keen. It's a tough old card tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, very tricky.
You have to say that just in case.
No, listen. If I'll be honest with you, I fancy two dogs strongly tonight, and that's it. But the rest of the card is very, very tricky. And like we've known in previous weeks, it depends what the going's going to be like. So I'm always a bit dubious of laying it down at the moment because obviously the going. But I've gone against that today and just started backing a dog at all prices. So
what's your dogs of choice then?
So my next best is going to be Montrose in the 736. It has got a draw of all draws, 5 rails, 4 rails, 3 rails. One moves off out of the boxes from one. I think he needs lane 3 and 2's going across him. So I think that, draws win races, and I think he's absolutely plotted. What I like about the dog, they've come for a 400 trial, and then they've gone back to Yarmouth for 2 weeks, and then I thought, you're not showing your hand over 575, and then you're going to come straight back from a maiden. So there's some big pluses there for me, and I thought, yeah, the only question mark I had is a July 18, and they've never put him over a trip. So that was my only concern, but I don't think this is the strongest maidens. One run well against Warzone Tom at Crayford, but he does not want track 1. He wants lane 3. Nap is in the last. It's Drum Do It Bomber. I think it was desperate last week in the final, and I think if you put the dog in 2 last week, I think he could have beat Kulavani, aren't he? He got his back legs taken off the second bend, and I thought 11-4, 5-2 was the wrong price. I had him at a 7-4 poke, so I was up early this morning going around the shops backing him because I just thought he was too big a price. He should lead 1, should lead 3. 5's got a good draw with 4 coming across, but I think he's got good enough pace to lead this field, and I think he'll take all the catching.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Actually, I backed Drum Do It Bomber as well, Billy. So I didn't have to go in the shops, but yeah, I was the same as you. I made Drum Do It Bomber and Antigua Princess very, very close together, and I think Tom would probably agree as well. We kind of come to the conclusion that Trooper's Edition isn't quite the dog that he was. He's definitely not attacking the bends great, and he's got obviously speed around him. So I was really surprised with Drum Do It Bomber when he won and he beat Kulavani, aren't you? But I thought he beat her on, well, when I say on merit, he led her on merit, put it that way. And I think that's half the battle, as you'll agree, at Romford.
Yeah, indeed.
So,
and I thought he ran well against Dapper Rodney when Dapper Rodney took a fly the week before.
Yeah, he did.
And he ran up the back. He ran up the back of him off the second bend, and Dapper Rodney's a good dog. So I thought this was not an easier task, but I think it's a very winnable task. And now he's back in 2. I think that's his box. I don't like him in 1, but I like him in 2, and I think he's. I thought 3. I see 3-1 at one point today, and I thought it was just too big.
Yeah,
wrong price.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, let's see if John is back.
We'll
just see if John's appeared. Can you hear us, John?
I can hear you, lads, and I can see you, but I'm not sure you can see me.
Yeah, we can see
half of your face.
If you move to your
left.
Is it?
There you go.
That way anyway. A little bit more. Yeah, we can see you now.
Hang on, I need to get these comments off.
Perfect.
How do you get these comments off?
That's the missus.
I was just... No, it's the technical assistant, the daughter. Right, let's see.
The technical assistant. I like it.
There we are. Right. Christ, I still can't get... It must be on... It's on inverse. It's on inverse. I don't know why. I keep moving further away.
Shimmy the other way.
I haven't even had a drink yet. Yeah, that's better.
What do you fancy tonight then, John? Nap and next best.
Right, so my nap is Kingdom Cat to chin Trap 2 roll on spike in this first race here. It looks like Betfair's going to have them more or less pick them. I just thought they ran against each other last week. 5 didn't get anywhere near a clear run. 2 got, like, it had the rails to itself, really, but 5 was just running hand over fist, catching it 2 for 1 coming home. So I just thought any sort of clear for 5, and 2 really does need to front off. I just thought as a match bet that you'd want to be all over 5. And have we placed the? Did we place the charity bet yet, Tom? Have I missed anything?
The charity bet has been placed, and if I can work out how to pop it up on the screen, I will. Bear with me a second. Mm-hmm. There it is, the Bresbet charity bet. So Bresbet are giving us £50 to try and win some money for Sheffield RGT. So we've got 7.36 Montrose to win, which is my nap, and 9.21 Boinville Jack to beat Burgess Glengar. So we've got £50 on the double at 9-2.
Very, very fair. Billy, what did you think about that match bet, or about Boinville Jack's race?
Boinville Jack's race is that what race is that, PL again?
That's the 9-12.
9-12.
Race 11.
I thought Track 1 ran a burster last week from 4. I really did. I made, Carter Bar is coming back from a rest. The sprint was good at Hove. But I was really impressed with 1 last week. It showed good pace from 4 and it nearly got ran. So I think now on the fence, Boinville Jack will take a step right, then straightens up, and then he's a decent dog when he hits the front, Boinville Jack. And I'll be brutally honest, I made it between 1 and 2.
Yeah, I actually thought that Moorestown Victor might be a better dog breaking wise out of the middle. He's broke well out of 3 and out of 4 now, is it? But he doesn't seem to break as well out of the red. So I take your point. Yeah,
I think he could get a pitch PO as well, because he can chase down dogs as well.
Yeah,
he's not just a fronty. He can come from behind. He has chased down some decent dogs before.
Yeah, I suppose Boinville Jack would be a bit vulnerable late, wouldn't he? But
he does. He is indeed. He's a nice dog, this Boinville Jack. He beat one of mine in an A1 before, and I like him. I think he's a decent Romford type.
I just thought he's awesome early. I just thought he had best early in the race. He'll lead.
Yeah.
And that's after battle at Romford. But I just thought he's been running really well. Like to the third bend, I can see him being 3 clear. But
I repeat that 369 sectional. That'll lead anything on this card today.
Yeah.
Technical assistant's been recalled. I think she's. Have you ironed out the problems now, Ellie? Or
it's greatly improved. Can hear you up both ears and everything now.
I think you've sussed it straight out.
Okay, 4 minutes till the first of our races tonight. The most important question: what is everyone drinking?
I'll take it off. I'm on the Camden's Hell.
Superb choice.
As the night wears on, we've got a little bit of Jim Beam Peach. I don't know if you can say that yet. And in an emergency, in case Trap 2 does beat Trap 5 here, we have some bleach.
Very good. Very good. Sorry, Billy, what you're drinking?
Yeah, I'm on the Koppenberg. I'm on my fourth one. Busy week this week. So then I'm going to go into the Moretti's and a few Budweisers. Yeah, I've got football training in the morning with the boys.
I'm on the bog standard, the Stella.
On the Stella, as always. So I went to little Tesco's to get the 3 Camden Hells for £5, the big bottles. No Camden Hells anymore, not in stock. Went to the fridge. All the 660 bottles have now been reduced to 500ml. But the Moretti still holding the fort of 660ml. 3 of those, however, got to the checkout. 3 for £5. I only forgot a club card. Didn't have a club card. Had to pay £6.60.
That's a schoolboy error.
I thought I got the value with the 660, but fucked it.
That's like being restricted.
Yeah,
it's worse. It's worse.
Just don't scan it, Tom, and put it in the bag. Best way.
5-finger discount.
Yeah. Lads, I'll tell you what looks a decent bet here. If you've got a Betfair account, 13-8 Kahuna Debbie to place.
Yeah.
You're looking at a tricky race.
It is a tricky race, but you've probably got 3 what need to lead, haven't you? And Kahuna Debbie probably going to get the rails to herself.
Kingdom
I would
Cat
imagine.
evens in the match bet. That's your big fancy, isn't it, here, John?
Yes, it is. 5 to beat 2. I've got it, Tom.
I think
John, you
5
sound
and
like
6
you know you're on for dogs. Is that right?
Well, I wouldn't be on the same level as you lads, to be honest. I used to know every runner off by heart, really, but I think like everyone else with lockdown, and when you stop being able to get a bet on, you lose touch with it a little bit, don't you?
Yeah.
It used to be on. Tom will tell you what we were like on Friday nights, relentless for probably 3 or 4 years solid, weren't we, Tom?
Yeah,
on Twitter.
yeah, very much so. It was probably the highlight for me of my time in Greyhound racing those Friday nights on Twitter. As sad as that is, just unbelievable crack every week.
Tom, I place it ahead of the birth of my kids. That's how much I enjoy it.
To be fair, it's not the same as the other side. I know we always keep saying it, but the atmosphere the other side was unreal. Like PL, like you remember PL back in the day. I used to see you over there with Adam Richardson on a Thursday.
Yeah.
You know, and we would have such a crack over there, even on a
Yeah.
Thursday. You know, giving it to Roger Simmons and all of them when we would have a few winners together. But it's not the same atmosphere. You know, I just think I'm just glad that they've still got a track there. To be honest with you, because I think if it would have happened before COVID, I don't think they would have built it personally. So. I think we're lucky to have it there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
good point, Matt. Yeah. Very good point.
Dogs are going behind. We've got the Romford FA Cup final tonight. We'll talk a bit more about that after the next race.
What won the first race, Tom?
Track 2.
Or 2 beat. Yeah, right.
Beat,
So
no way extra.
I'll make Jack Bingham favourite outright tonight to beat Tottenham's Fat Was, to be honest. So looking at Waz's picks, I think he's made a couple of strange ones, Waz. I know Waz from Twitter, so he'll not mind me saying he's fucked up on 1 or 2. At least he's got 1 on the board early, which is always nice.
Absolutely.
I'll keep an eye on that.
I watched the videos of 4. I thought 4 was going left from 4. It does get. I think 5 and 6 have got good draws here.
I do, Bill. I thought
quick
4. I mean, 4 on the card. It doesn't look like it can really lead 2, but it has been shown good early. So I think there's a chance 4 could cut across the inside, and that, as you say, it leaves it open for 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Off from racing, and 2 is the first to show, but 4 has got good early dash, and Greyhound Desi will lead into the turn ahead of Roll on Spike, and then in behind these comes Wakiki Liz. Then there's a gap back to Kahuna Deb, who's trying to make inroads into the third turn, but the leader is Greyhound Desi by a good 2 lengths from Roll on Spike, who's trying to pick up in behind, along with Wakiki Liz, but up towards the line. 4 will beat 2 and 6.
Ooh.
Even traps.
Bad start.
Spike beats Cat.
Walked out again, 5, didn't he, John? Walked out.
I think he's walked out since he's come back from being lame. I was watching his videos, and he does edge in a little bit as well, 5 from boxes, and I think he'd be probably better in lane 4, 5.
He walked out last week as well, but he got much closer than that to 2, and he got more trouble.
Yeah.
Anyway, good work out for the shoulders.
Okay, so we have the Romford FA Cup final, and I have this master spreadsheet for the entries tonight. So the 2 finalists of Fat Was and Jack Bingham, they have chosen alternate races for the first pick and then the second pick. So each of the match bets tonight is based on their selections. So I've highlighted them. If they manage to win it overall, that's a hell of a thing, given they've only had second choice on a lot of them, but they're highlighted so we can keep an eye on where they are through the evening. They're both level, 1 point at the moment, and so far we've got a few people who've got the first 2 right, but there is a long way to go. £50 free bet with Bresbet for the eventual winner.
Well, that should keep me Bresbet account open. First bet is a loser. It's all a ploy.
Tactical, in it for the long game.
Tactical to keep the account open.
PL, do you miss the Thursday afternoons with Alan Richardson at Romford? The banter wires with.
I think about him a lot. I was talking to his brother actually, literally probably 2 days ago. It might have been yesterday actually, about the way the old school way of doing it, where you did your card, you go to the track, half for a little bit of social, half for a little bit of to try and get your money, and you stand in front of the books, they open up, and you decide whether you're going to have a bet or not. It's nowadays you get these early prices, and then you get Betfair, and it's just completely and utterly different. Completely different.
I used to love it, obviously, the Thursday afternoons when you and Alan Richardson used to give it to Simo or Roger. And if you got one at a price and you could see their face, Simo was nearly crying at times, and it was brilliant to watch, and I loved it. As a young lad, watching them get smashed, it was brilliant.
Yeah. But lads, do you not think when the punters that used to stand on the steps at any track, really? I mean, I was Sunderland, mate. It was mostly a graded track. And the banter between the punters, never mind the books. And that's where most of these bets, what I put on Twitter, this match bet and that, it's all sprung from that. You could be standing on the steps and saying, I give track 3 a good chance here. And someone behind you, he's not even in the conversation, fucking 3 can't win. 5 will beat it all day. So you'd be arguing with them, wouldn't you? Come on then. 50 quid each, 3 to beat 5. And that's how the match bet sort of went. Yeah. How they took off. And the Romford FA Cup, it's just a spin-off from that, basically.
And it's really good because when you stand on the steps as well, and you kind of think, well, he'll be finishing the same as me, and you kind of think, do you step in first? Do you wait? What do you do? Because it's like most things, one book can open up, and then the next book can have an opinion and be bigger, and you would never really know. Do you know what I mean? So,
I mean, you could stand on the steps, PL. And you could probably lose a monkey without having a bet in the books, just among yourselves. You know what I mean? Some of the crack and what we used to do, like you could sort of make a handicap out of a graded race thing. Trap 2's going to win. I tell you what, I'll give you a length and a half head start. I bet you it doesn't. You'd have 50 quid each. There's loads of angles into a race, isn't there? But I think the books could sort of pick up one these days, because I know they speak about Betfair and how beating the Betfair market is forbidden for punters, but there's nothing to say the books have to put markets up what are on Betfair. Like in that last race there, they could say, how about trap 2 minus 1.5 lengths against trap 5 to 6 each. They can keep enough margin on it, and that's not you're not really going to be able to Betfair and arb that, are you?
No,
it's just a different angle into a race.
I do think that some of that when we were doing the Australian stuff during lockdown, where they had the match bets there, but a lot of people. I mean, listen, I'm not a big punter really. I don't play that big, but a lot of people say, "Oh, there's not enough liquidity in the match bet market that a lot of the Betfair did in Australia." But I do think, as you say, it's something that they probably should look at over here, and fair play to Bresbet for dipping into it during this FA Cup. It's different, isn't it? And I think punters always look for different things.
But that's what I'm saying. If that market isn't on Betfair, surely it's an opportunity for the likes of Bresbet or these other firms to step in and say, right, there's no way somebody's going to be able to arb this 10 seconds before the off, because that market isn't even on Betfair.
So it's again, like Billy was just saying, about John Parr and that, it is bookmaker opinion versus the punter, which is exactly what you were saying about what happened at Romford, Billy. It was whatever they chalked up. You said, is it a bet or isn't it a bet, and went from there. And it could be that you might have a saver, and you don't end up going with your saver because it was the bigger price rather than the fancy that they'd found.
So I think sometimes online, it's hard because obviously the books at the track, they just follow that. They follow odds checker and where the money's gone. Before Steve Simmons, Roger, and some of them won't do their own work, and they'll put up the Racing Post prices, and you'll be like, "This is brilliant." Like you travel up there on a Friday night, you go, you just clean up. Yeah. The thing is, there's a lot more detail, a lot more information.
But Bill, the Betfair market probably. The Betfair market probably doesn't even take shape until 2 or 3 minutes before the off.
Agreed.
Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of betting time there, isn't there? Where you could be,
I
See,
texted
we got
Bresbet
Romford.
today to ask how the match bets are gone because I put them up for every race today, and they did say they'd taken a fair few quid on it, which is good. You know, people having a go at something. It's nice to see everyone
Of course
having a go.
But that's what the punters want, I think. The punters don't want just to be betting 3-1 when it's 4.8 on Betfair, 5-2 when it's 4.3. It gets boring, doesn't it?
Different angle of a race as well, John. You know, it's like, because a match bet isn't just about winning the race, is it?
No. So
You know,
some people will look at Betfair and think, oh, it's 3-1, 3-1. They're a 5-6 pick, but it's not. The percentage chance of them winning the match is totally different to winning the actual race, isn't it? You've got to learn to look at the makeup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
And if you're taking business 3 and 4 hours before the race, that's what you want, surely, isn't it? Then you rely and you're hoping that your traders have done a good job and carded up properly and priced up properly.
We kind of keep talking about on here. It's that, and exactly what Billy just said about the old days with Romford. And it's easy to go hark back on it, but they were the best. They were the best days because it was one man's opinion against another. And it is. I just heard them talking about John Power and Ray Bourne used to work for John Power. I know Ray Bourne from when he was at Rye House. I was an assistant race manager at Rye House. I was a Kenland before that, and I knew Ray then because he was attached to the books at Rye House before he probably then went and did the tissues and stuff for John Power. And that is the old school. It is one man's opinion against another, and they weren't frightened to take the bet. Whereas now it's all about
in the defence of the books,
of
then
what are we winning and losing, and all do you know what I mean? Because they're not prepared to invest in paying even someone for a tissue. They just don't want to do it.
To add balance to that, though, PL, it must be hard for the books on track at the moment because there's not many people there, is there, to make a book?
No, I get that, and I think actually towards the end of Billy, I don't know whether you were still punting on the bags meetings. But sometimes they'd have signs up only to lose 100 quid and stuff like that because they knew that they were getting picked off, and they didn't want arbors, like you said, John. They didn't want to be picked off by people looking at Betfair and then making mistakes. So
that's it.
You can understand that.
Yeah. Again, though, with the Betfair price, PL, like if you look at the Greyhound liquidity on Betfair, and what are you actually beating? If you're betting 3-1 and it goes off 3.8, are you beating the price then? Or because 7 or 8 quid could move that price, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could.
You know what I mean? So
early doors. But
I mean, there's been, looking at this 643 race Romford now, there's been 1,700 quid matched on Betfair. That's probably what 10 to 12 people have had a bet. It's not like it's not like an Indian cricket match where the whole world have come together to find the price, is it? You know what I mean? That's what I mean. It's not a set price. So if you've got traders,
but
that Betfair price isn't king.
There doesn't seem to be anyone to really say this is what I think is a price. This is the way I've priced this up. To say to bet, I don't know, early doors to 125 or 120 or something like that on the Betfair market. I don't see too many of them doing that particularly.
Nah.
But to be fair to Bresbet on a Friday night, they are trying to have an opinion and bet to a decent margin. Whereas you kind of get the industry prices that bet to 135. They're saying, well, we'll bet to 120 and this we're confident in our prices. Let's have a go, which is what I've said before and here about maybe 18 months ago when I was doing the Australian stuff. That's what Top Bet were doing in Australia. They wanted to employ people to compile their odds for them and say this is a betting industry. Now have a bet with us.
Yeah. Well, let's say for instance the traders price something up, I don't know, 3-1, and they think it should be 4. They think it should be 4-1. And they only take one bet on that. They're still getting 1-4. They're still getting 1-3 on the field. The other way around, the flip side, when it should be 1-4. So they've got a good bet the book, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just about. It's difficult.
It's actually the having of the opinion in the first place that you don't really see too many times these days. Again, spoke to James Price at Ladbrokes the other day, and he said that he wished that there wasn't the early prices on every single market. He's quite confident that he can watch his videos, he can come up with prices that he thinks are real prices, and he wants to lay a bet with opens, So that's where he wants to give his confidence. And I think it kind of goes back to, there's too much racing, so therefore everyone can't be master at all those tracks. I suppose in the jump, if you go back and I know we're harping back a little bit with what Billy said. I think when we went there, Billy, was probably 4 meetings a week.
Yeah.
And now there's 5 and 6, and even with Waltham, so there was 3. But you kind of knew those, and Hackney days, you knew those dogs inside out, Billy. So therefore, there was more confidence in the prices. Whereas now there's so much racing, no one's got the confidence in the prices.
Nah.
Let's have a quick chat about this race before we carry this on. We keep getting told off by our viewers not leaving enough time to talk about the races. I've got an opinion on this, but I'd welcome yours first.
I'll go first. Bubbly Mischief. I thought this had half a chance. This run against one of my pups in Crafty Galactico on the 10th of Jan. Run really well. It's got nice early. I think it's the full brother to Brookside Richie. Nice pup. It's got nice early. And I didn't think this took. I don't think this took a lot of leading. I still think this dog's got a little bit of improvement. So I'll take a chance on 5. Not heavy, but I still think it. I reckon this dog could be an A2, A1 dog within time.
Yeah. Sorry, John. Go on.
I'll just be quick. I just made it 2 dogs, 3 and 5. At the prices, I'd now inch towards 5. 3. It's a little bit bigger. I couldn't split them, so 3 to beat 5.
I kind of favoured 5, and I think 5 is a really nice bend run. He didn't really have a chance to air his wares because 4 was moving off in front of him when he ran in that A5 final last week on the Essex Vars final card. I thought that 1 was the danger. I made it kind of between 5 and 1, and 3 was the other half a runner. So, but I'm not confident enough for me to play. So I've sat this one out. Yeah,
it was a 3 for me. I think 3 is a good, strong running dog, and 5 has to get it all right at the start. I think 3 can do it either way. So that was my fancy, and particularly in the match bet.
And Billy, have you played here?
No, I've not played. No, I've not played.
You favour 5, yeah?
I favour 5, yeah.
Okay, hair's running. The Curtis Mason birthday stakes. What about that? Race away, and 3's got a really decent start from 1 up on the inside. It's Hopalong Clancy that will go to the front from Tukos Abbey, and then in behind these comes Bubbly Mischief. A little bit of a gap back to Ardera Tank, and into the 3rd turn, the 3. Hopalong Clancy for Michelle Brown has around about a 3-length lead from Tukos Abbey, and then just in behind comes Bubbly Mischief, straightening up for the judge, and this is all over as a contest. Hopalong Clancy has won it and won it well.
Impressive.
Good performance there.
Yeah, very good. Great early.
Nice.
That was never going to get caught once that trapped.
No, agreed.
But if 5 led, it would have been the same, wouldn't it? 5 would have. I think if 5 led,
he walked out. Didn't he?
I just think whatever led out 5 and 3.
Yeah, he went up all right off a missed break 5. To be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 3 got first dibs, and that was good enough with that sort of 29.50 on the card. I guess that probably Mischief can do that as well, but not walking out.
Yeah. To be fair, looking at 1's card, you'd want 1 as a place dog, really, the amount of seconds he's got. So he'd be a good frame up dog to trap 1.
He just lays on the fence, doesn't he, and just keeps going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was the Curtis Mason birthday stake, so we should really wish Curtis Mason happy birthday, lad, shouldn't we?
Curtis. But he's probably there at the track, is he? I don't know. Would have thought so.
Well,
should we have a wager on how old Curtis is? You cut with a name like that, it could be anything from 14 to 98.
Well, firstly, Tom, if Curtis is watching the show, he's got to be questioning what sort of birthday he's having, hasn't he? First and foremost, should really be in the strippers, I would imagine. But no, he's,
not if he's 14.
Well, no, more so if he's 14. But I'll say under 32.5 for Curtis. if anyone's on track and they can find out.
Is that the spread? We should see him on the podium. Okay, so interesting on the Romford FA Cup.
Oh shit!
Mr. T. Welshie, the king of NFTs, 3 out of 3. The only one with a 100% record. Plenty have got 2 out of 3. Jack Bingham takes a lead against Fat Was in the grand final itself.
So it's 2-1 in the so far, yeah?
2-1, yeah.
Very
No,
good.
oh yeah, 2-1. That's what I've got as well. 2-1.
Right, I've got a little bit of a question for Billy.
Go on, Phil.
What was the first time you got into dog racing?
I would probably say me and my best friend Dean Cleaver. He lived in Romford, and it was back in the day when All Shoe Ping, Arbeg Mentor, El Tenor, them types of dogs were running Friday nights at Romford. So we would get, obviously we didn't drive, so we would get an 86 bus from Stratford to obviously to Romford. You know, you have to have parents to get in, so we would, you know, grab an adult and say, look, can you make out where your kids, get us in? We were quite big kids at the time. They would get us through the door. And Simo at that time would lay us a bet because obviously we were quite big lumps at the time, me and my pal. So we were too young to bet, but he would lay us because we looked 17, 18. So we would have a bet with him. And we would go there and, you know, them dogs like All Shoe Ping, Arbeg Mentor, El Tenor, it was a privilege to watch them in full flight. I used to love watching them. You know, it was just, that would probably be the first time that I used to go as I was 40,
What sort
30,
of
40.
year was that, Billy?
Peel, I would say that would be 97, 96, 97.
Right.
And it just, we would go there and I used to say to my best friend, I said, you know what, one day I will have a Friday night dog at Romford. I said, I don't know how good it'll be. I said, but I'll promise you, I will get a dog round Romford and it'll be an half decent type. And he used to say to me, shut up, you fool. But it was something that I just loved. You know, when I used to finish training, I was always at Romford on a Thursday afternoon. There was nothing really else to do. And
why did you go there in the first place? Just out of interest.
I just think because training used to finish at 12 o'clock, there's nothing really else to do. You either play golf or go home, or some of the others would go to the gym, and that weren't for me. So I would just go, you know what? I'll just go Romford. I used to like it. And that sounds crazy. You know, I used to see some of the old school smoking a cigar. I used to love the smell of it. And I thought, this is a bit of me, you know, and the atmosphere, you know, the characters within ground racing. I think that's what we've lost, you know, the
Bill,
characters. And
you're from a football background as well, Bill, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you find that did you find a lot of people in football at the time were just fucking rampant gamblers, and you would naturally just end up in gambling establishments?
Harry Redknapp was the manager at the time, and he loved to gamble. So he was, you know, he's a dodgy character. So he was always punting. You know, he was sending youth team boys down to put his bets on at the local bookie. So it was one of them. So he was a good character. Like, so most of them all the time, like, all just love a punt. Even if it's, I'll tell you a prime example: Razor Ruddock, lunatic, the nuttiest man in the world. So we was all on, you know, apprentice money, rubbish money. So we would say if you was injured at the time, and he'd say to you, put your head in that ice bucket for a minute, and you'll get 50 quid. The amount of kids that wanted that 50 quid, the ice bucket, you'd pull your head out halfway through, and it would be purple and blue, and he'd go, "You got another 30 seconds, get back down." And then he was nuts. But fair play to him, he would give you the money. He was the biggest character I've ever met in football. He was unbelievable, so funny.
Fucking
you know,
brilliant,
he'd play on a Saturday, and he knew training was Monday, Tuesday. He'll be running, and he'd be in the treatment table saying, Harry would come in and say, "Razor, you ready to run?" He went, "No, Harry, got a twinge in my knee." But Friday night, when it was just a little kickabout and ready for Saturday, he'll be fit. It was unbelievable. Didn't give a shit.
Class, man.
Brilliant character. He was different class.
Good story. Like that one. I'm going to ask John the same question, but just you mentioned that because Romford, the same venue was where I first got into dogs, and that was more 1980, 81, where there was you mentioned 3 dogs. I'm going to mention 3 dogs. One was Dranole Bess, and she was a hurdler. She was a white and coloured bitch. She was a hurdler. She just won them, just kept winning. One was Nippy Gale, which was a fawn dog trained by Ken Lindsell. And the other one was Johnny Bristol, which mixed it between 575s. And they used to have 750 graded quite a lot there as well. A black dog of Peter Payne's. And they were the 3 dogs I always remember. And actually, early.
It's weird how you remember these dogs, though, PL, right?
Yeah.
You just remember them
and you
dogs.
said, and the other thing that I remember you said there was the smell. It was just there was just a smell, just an atmosphere that I just wanted to keep going back there. And I used to get the 86 bus there from Seven Kings as well.
Did you really?
The road. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Well, PL, we used to get the bus there and walk back because we had no money left. You know what I mean? So we didn't live far from the dogs, and I think when we were younger, I just grew up with like a bunch of degenerate gamblers. First, it was the fruit machines. Then we'd go like the snooker club, and we'd be playing cards, 3-card brag against all the older lads. Yeah. And then it would escalate from there. Do you fancy a trip to the dogs? Yeah, go on. But it didn't matter what time the dogs was on. There would always be a reasonable crowd there. Yeah. At least, I would say at least 100 people on the steps, all gambling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which adds to the atmosphere. That's the thing that kind of hooks you.
And it was all age ranges as well, from all walks of life. So it was like 10 and 11-year-old kids just running about causing mayhem, and like 80 and 90-year-old fellas who've been there all life trying to make it pay. And like we could find 5 or 6 winners on a card, but you'd still walk home skinned. And it was like, you know what I mean? You could be the best judge in the world, but it didn't dawn. You need to be really, really good to beat the maths as well over the course of a meeting, over the course of a week, over the course of a year. It's no good finding 5 or 6 winners off a 12-race card if you're staking shite, is it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's obviously about winning. Winning at gambling is all about staking, isn't it? And knowing when to bet, when not to bet, and so it's easy to have a bet, but it's getting it right. It's not easy. Sometimes, you know, when you're winning, you think, oh, should I button up or should I press up? It's they're all the decisions that you have to make. But it is funny actually when you said there, you kind of when there's older people, you kind of think, you listen to all that, and then when you're young, Billy would probably agree with me. When you're young, you kind of hang on every word they say, and yet when you get a bit more experience, you think, "What the fuck is he talking about?"
You do,
Right, let's have a chat about this race. Try and get our 5 minutes in before each race tonight. I've got a runner in this one, Corten Steele, so I suppose I should probably talk about him first. Fast dog when he gets it right. That 370 run, 24-13. Had us dreaming, but he is quite a hard dog to keep right. He's definitely not in form at the moment, and having led and got picked up and done 24-72 a few runs later, not ideal. We had him, got the muscle man in on Tuesday to make sure nothing was amiss, because I will never run my dogs if I fear they're lame, because it's all about the welfare. Being checked over, absolutely fine. So we'll see. If he smashes out and does another 370, 24-13 run, he'll win easily. But based on his recent forms, I certainly couldn't recommend anyone back him.
It's one of those dogs. I think he's got, as you say, Tom, you know him well. He's got plenty of pace, and if he gets it right, but he's one of the, I think he's also a dog that when he's got dogs around him, he might just sort of look after himself a little bit. So the talent's there. There's no danger of that because of that 24-13 on his card when he's beating A2 dogs. And there's no reason. I don't think this is a real strong race by any means. But of course, Romeo Cruz beat him when they met back on the 27th.
Yeah,
and was probably got a reasonable makeup, because I don't think Portuguese Hero is a wide runner. So again, a lot of it, as we always say, at Romford is on the break, but I would just kind of favoured Romeo Cruz just over Corten Steele.
Do we think there's a danger of Portuguese Hero holding up Romeo Cruz?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Which way I looked at the race, Tom. So you've got your dog, 1, 2, 4 and 5, all need to lead off. 6 beat Corten Steele comfortably last week, it has to be said. But if you watch the race, it got more or less a clear run to the bend. 4 and 5 didn't show
Here
any
it
early.
is on the screen.
Yeah, 4 and 5 didn't show any early in Romeo Cruz's race, but this time there's much more early in 4 and 5. So I think there's more to clear, and I've actually made Romeo Cruz the lay of the day. It's looking at 2.04 on Betfair now. I couldn't give you the winner, but looking at them prices, I'd be backing yours at 13 on Betfair, Portuguese Hero at 20. Probably them two against the field if you didn't want to lay. If you didn't want to lay trap 6, but I've laid trap 6 here, and that's my angle in the race.
I can give you a little bit of, trap 6. Obviously, I've got dogs with Dave Mullins, and I think Dave really, really likes this dog. I think he will enter him for the Golden Sprint. I think he thinks he's a nice type. I think he thinks there's a lot more to come. He's going to have to brush up on his braking to be competitive, in a Golden Sprint. I made a small case for trap 1. This dog's he hasn't got bad toe trap 1, and he what he does off the second bend, he does move middle off of the second bend, and he went into my dog last week moving off a tad. But he's a nice type. I think he's plenty young enough to. He's very well bred. But it was another race that at the moment I've not had a bet in these races so far because I think they've been very, very tricky. So, but I would probably, if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably want to be playing 1 and 4. 4's times at Enlow are pretty decent, 27.65. Mark Wallace can get a dog ready. I do love Droopy Sydney's. I think he's the best sire out there at the moment. I don't think anyone can touch him. It's interesting that Mark's come here. As he's put him in a maiden, has he got an eye on the Golden Sprint? Does he think he's good enough? Why is he bringing him here? We'll find out. 360, was it 382 splits? Might need to up that, to confirm that.
He's not. Yeah, he's obviously a decent dog, but not top class.
No, he's
looking
not.
at his handload times.
No, but as I said, if like again at Romford, it's whoever leads. But it was a tricky race, and I think it's a pin job. But you know what, Tom, I haven't had a bet, and you know what, I just want you to scream the house down if your dog goes round in front.
Five's been shown great early at Hove.
There's a few that fancy 5 on the chat.
Oh, I'd be betting that at 20s if I could get on.
Yeah, I must admit, I made Romeo Cruz favourite. I couldn't make him that short, so I've joined you, John. I've laid him a little bit, but I don't really know who's going to beat him. And I mentioned in Breakfast Club, I think he is some kind of runner, but he's got 2 ways of starting. But he's one of those. When he starts, he shows good early. When he misses it, he would be one of them bit flat-footed, and you won't see anything out of him. So he's very, very hit and miss. But actually, look at his form. He's due a hit. So
he's missed it last time. Every time he misses it, he seems to break. So
exactly. Yeah, the next time he does, Billy. Yeah.
If you're betting Romeo Cruz, it's 5 to 6. It needs to win 60 races out of 110 round Romford in a race it's not going to lead. That's what you are looking at it. Watch it lead now.
Good luck, Tom.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is the Romford Friday night Fire of the Maidens Heat 1 over the standard 400-metre trip. Their approaches. And they race away, and 5 gets a bomb break, and Portuguese Hero will lead comfortably into the turn ahead of Lessons in Life, who's going to drop up on the inside and now goes on. And Lessons in Life quickens on for Paul Young down the far side. Romeo Cruz starts to get busy around the last 2 bends. It's the red from the stripes as they turn off the last. It's the red. Lessons in Life now being pressured by Romeo Cruz, but Lessons in Life and Romeo Cruz have gone past together. It's close. We'd like to call that.
Or is it? That might be a length. One might have won by a length.
Fucking hell. You think 6? What price would you have bet 6 off the bend? Off the last bend?
6 is around a horrible 4th bend.
What happened to 5? Because 5 had led comfortable. And
I think 1 got up the inside of it, PL, and I think it just maybe bullied him out.
Didn't drive the bend, really, did he?
No, stayed out of it.
I said to you, didn't I? Trap 1's got. He's a nice pup one. I think he's all right. I think bit more time. I think he could
did
be half
put
decent.
The one up.
I don't know if he's held on, but he's a decent enough type.
I think this is a good enough race to have our first whinge about the Romford camera angle.
Absolutely. Even Dave Clark of the Racing Post was kicking off about it.
6 has got him, hasn't he?
Yeah, I thought 6 got up.
Yeah, I didn't want him to, but obviously he did.
But saying that, I thought Anastasia got up last week, and I was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of those where I thought into the third bend we were just holding on, and then Romeo Cruz has picked up well, and
4 hasn't shown much at all there, has he? To the bend.
Solomariac
No,
dog, isn't he? Yeah.
absolutely nothing.
I was expecting 4 to maybe be a little bit more of a goalkeeper for the 6.
But Dave, as I said to you earlier on, Dave does like 6. He thinks he's an half decent type. You know, a bit more left in the tank. He's told me so. Yeah,
He didn't really come out there either. He is one of those.
No.
He doesn't always break, but he stays to 400 on his head. So yeah, which most of Dave Firmage's dogs tend to stay, don't they?
Yeah, indeed.
Fair play to Bresbet for taking a view in the race 4. Hopalong Clancy, the SP was 5-2. Went off with them at 7-2.
Yeah, that is fair play.
Good bit of bookmaking that. Well,
that was right on the Betfair price. That's gone off about 4.5, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, how did your dog? Did he look all right coming off?
Yeah, it seemed to be. I mean, as PL said, he is a bit prone to an ease when he's got dogs around him. He can take a bump if he's physically hit by a dog. He'll keep going, but he gets, I think, a little bit nervous others around him. It's just he's a funny dog, difficult one to keep right.
The dam line is fantastically well bred, isn't he?
Oh, unbelievable! Yeah.
He'd be lovely up the Cheltenham Hill, wouldn't he, Tom?
What's that?
He'd be lovely up the Cheltenham Hill, wouldn't he? In a straight line.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He would. Yeah. He's a beautiful dog. He's big, handsome dog.
Which is great if you want to kiss it all day, Tom. But if you're backing it, mate, got to try and find a balance, haven't we? I'd prefer a fast, ugly one, if I'm being honest.
There is that. Yeah.
6 is confirmed as a winner, by the way. 5-6.
Sorry, boys.
Bastard.
They got it right.
Let's have a quick update on the match bet Romford FA Cup. Mr. T. Welshie, the cryptocurrency king, 4 out of 4. Still plenty behind him on 3. Few on 2. Mark Greyhound, wooden spoon at the moment, no winners, but can only improve. Jack Bingham takes a 3-1 lead over Fat Wars in the Romford FA Cup.
How many years have you done this, John, this Romford FA Cup?
Sorry, Paul?
How many years have you done it?
Well, we ran it we used to have one every other week, like, you know what I mean?
Did you?
And then what would happen? Obviously, half the field get knocked out. So they'd be harping on to run another competition alongside it. So you'd have like you know what I mean, like
the milk cup,
a milk cup running alongside, like the Derby Plate, and that would then be more popular than the main event. So I had to stop it. People were fighting over it, man. It was. But we've seen some proper rage on Twitter when it first came out, because I'm sure it was 50 quid or 100 quid entry fee, and you just pay it all out, pay all the money out. It's just good crack, really. And then we ran a league as well, Tom, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we done the Premier League. I think that sort of it was 3 points for a win. Obviously, you can't have a draw. No points for a lose. But it dragged on too long, that, and I think that sort of took the edge off it, didn't it?
Yeah, and then obviously Romford stopped being on the telly on Fridays.
But
John, this is a question for you. Have you ever owned Greyhounds? Have you ever been involved with Greyhounds?
I have, Bill. But mainly graders. I got involved with graders just for the social. I've been in syndicates. I've had dogs with myself, and the reason what put me off getting them and buying any more is because I was in it mainly for the social. So I would say, right, on a Saturday night, we'll all go over, we'll get a box, we'll all spend a few quid over the dogs, we'll have a good night, and you'd turn up and your dog wasn't even on the card. Yeah. You know what I mean? It raced on maybe it's the Friday night, or it'd been put in as a reserve on the Friday. Then you're like, the whole point of us, you've got the full family together.
Yeah.
And you just could. I just felt like you're not in charge of your dog, especially a grader. Once the grader's got all of it,
that has happened now, John, without a doubt, and that is mainly because, like we mentioned earlier on, there's just too much racing. So it kind of takes away that personal thing, and I think that's what most owners have. And I think every now and again, Billy, you've kind of got the to kind of zig with it so much, you're gonna like, we'll swerve this for the time being. And
yeah, like for me, as I said, if I think a track's running and there's a lot of injuries at a track, I won't run my dog.
yeah.
Like I will tell my dad, running it. I don't care what you think or what you say. I pay the bills. I'm the one that pays the dog. It ain't running.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be brutally honest with you. I had an issue with Romford about last year. I thought there were too many injuries, and I rung Ian Smythe. I said, and I was honest with him. I said, I think there's too many injuries at the track. And and to be fair play to him, he said he held his hands up and they looked at it and they tried to work out what the issues were. You know, I had to tell him straight because I think that was what I need to do as an owner. If you want me to invest in your tracks, I need to be brutally honest with you. I'm not going to sit on the fence and say, oh, yes, it's hunky dory, it's great. Well, it ain't great.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm spending 10 grand, 15 grand on a dog or whatever I'm going to spend on a dog, I want to make sure that that's safe. You know, I bought a dog out of York. Me, Gary Thompson, Jim Reynolds and Steve Taylor. Nice dog out of York. Had one try at Romford, finished. And I know you can say bad luck, but that's just, you know, I'm thinking to myself, you know what, how many more can you take? I had 21 dogs to start of the year. I now have 3.
Yeah. I had 10. I've got 1 now. Yeah. So.
I don't think I'll reinvest.
I don't even blame the trainers. I don't even blame the trainers either, because I'm not near her, but we had a lovely trainer up at Sunderland and her hands are sort of tied. She's got that many dogs. But we go to the kennel on a Sunday and I'd say, look, we're planning a big family night out Saturday night. We're going to get the full family together. Can you see if we can get our dog on the card for next Saturday? And she was like, well, I'll ask the question, but I can't guarantee it. And of course, to get that many people together and arrange a night, it does take the full week. You could be waiting Thursday and Friday, then get a text saying, "No, unfortunately, the dog's not on the card on Saturday." So how can you plan?
Yeah, John, do you know what I don't think's helped either is when they moved the meetings to 6 o'clock start. You know, as you know, many people work late. So what time have you got to get home, have a shower, and get to the track for 6:04?
Especially on the weekend, Friday and Saturday night, 7:30. It should be 7:30 first race.
Yeah.
Your run will take your last race is 10:30. You have your meal and your drinks, and then you open the bar / nightclub afterwards. That's what you do on the weekend for me.
The betting shop closes at 9:30, so 9:30 when the final race will be.
This is what I'm saying, Tom. That's where it's the sight of it always just lost, isn't it? It's just that it just seems to be. It can't just be for bookmakers. There has to be the medium where you've got to keep owners. I mean, I said this a long while ago that trainers will end up owning the majority of their dogs because they don't seem to be catering for owners. And like, you know, Billy said when he started, and this is why I think it's interesting. How did you get started in dogs? What gives you the buzz? And now everything's just changing, and it's kind of squeezing that enjoyment out of you, and that's wrong. They should still have that level-headedness to say, well, yeah, but we still need to do this because we still need to keep our owners happy. And I think that's where these decisions that are made up in these big corporate companies are lost.
I mean, how can you justify? I mean, Billy just said they paid 15 grand for a dog. Like, how can you justify it in the current climate? You probably need to win 2 or 3 competitions with that dog, Bill, or have a very good bet, which you're unlikely to get. You know what I mean? And
the thing is, I think the worrying thing that I have at the moment is paying good money for a dog and putting it on surfaces that are not good enough to put dogs around. Yeah. You know, and I'll be honest with you, if I'm buying a dog and I'm aiming it for a competition or whatever, I'm looking at the trial results, the race results. If I see it did not finish, and if I'm watching where they're breaking down, I'm making sure that I ain't sending that dog there. Yeah. You know, I had dogs with Jim and Steve Taylor and Gary. We had all the Ritzy dogs together, you know, and you know, some of
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work that though, Bill, isn't it? I mean,
it is a lot of work, but
that should be the groundsman. That should be like the minimum required standard. You shouldn't have to be as an owner. You should not be having to look at the state of the track. You should just automatically think like the track's in great nick.
But let's be honest with you, most of these tracks now are not good enough. They're not good enough. The track staff, you know, I'm not knocking all of them, but most of them, they're not experienced enough. You know, just for instance, say a fellow was working at Romford as a security guard. He applies to be track maintenance. What experience have you got? What experience have you got to do that job? For me, you should be on a course. 6-month course before you get that job. But they can't because they've got no one else to fill that gap. He will do because he'll be there Monday to Friday or on a weekend, and it's enough.
And
it's
he's
cheap
the same
leather.
old story as well, Billy, is that he's a lovely fella, but is he actually qualified to do the job?
Yeah.
There's a big difference. And
don't disrespect. You've got and my friend who videoed the other week, the fella who's in the inside of the track. You wouldn't see that in Ireland. They'd fucking string him up.
Yeah.
You can't, and then 1 minute it's rails, 1 minute's wide, and you think to yourself, and you can't win. If they want people to punt on the dogs and they want to punt on a regular basis, you're going to lose people because you can't win because you do the videos, you study, and you go there and go, well, I've just had £500 on trap six, it's not running. You know what I mean?
Bill,
so you have to try and lay some back.
You know, the going, what they give, the official going, what a load of bollocks. And I mean,
I think it's most of the time. And I'm not bit. Sorry,
I've
John.
stood at a track, right? Watch the trials, -10, -20. Then the meeting's taking place, and it's like +40, +50, and nothing has changed. You're like, hang on, is there been is the sun out? Nothing has changed in that hour. So how can the going be different? It's just one man's opinion, isn't it?
And I'll be honest with you, I think that's why trainers sometimes do get in trouble because when they're giving their grading trials, they're not giving the right. Going allowance.
The time.
A dog finds 60, 70, you're getting locked up. And
exactly.
Another thing that bugs me, and it's a real bear bug on mine. If you had a horse and a horse trainer as a coup, horse wins by a great gamble. That is, what a trainer. That's a great fit. A Greyhound trainer does it, or a Greyhound owner has a bet. We're crooked. You think to yourself, because they're a little bit upper class and we're working class, you think your shit don't stink? That's bullshit. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
But if it drifts from 5-2 to 9-1, is that a bookmaker's coup?
Yeah.
It's not, is it? It's the same thing. No, the bookmakers is getting all the value, but it's not a coup that way. It's only a coup if it actually wins and it's been punted off the boards. Then there's a big investigation, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think they mind the ones that drift. It's the ones that get gambled. That's the issues really are.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So once in a blue moon, you'll hear something backed in from 10-1 to 5-2. Oh, it's a bookmaker, or to punt a coup. Trainers at it. This one's at it. But how many of them drift? And you never hear anything more from it, do you?
No, but let's be brutally honest with you. There's not many great trainers around at the moment. There's some good trainers, but there's not many great trainers. And they're going by the wayside every single year. Yeah. I see Stuart Butland's gone now. It's just a big loss. You can't replace these people
because it's not really about the talent of training anymore, Billy. It's about supplying a big number of dogs, and and no one seems to really see the bigger picture of it, or it's quite frightening, really, because I think a lot of the people that come on to our show live in the real world. They speak the truth in a reasonable and acceptable way, and yet you think the people that actually, like you just said, probably they are responsible for the welfare of your dogs because of the track that you're going to, or the surface that you're going to race on.
Yeah,
Billy. Well, I was race manager at Crayford. Before each and every meeting, I used to walk around the track to make sure it was all right. And if it wasn't, I'd say something to the track lads. And you're right. Some of those track lads, they get there, they do their job, and they want to bugger off and have a cup of tea. Well, if it's not acceptable and the weather changes or it's not quite right, then I have to do something because my love is for them dogs, and I want them to be the same. And I realise when you handle dogs, and you probably put a lead on quite a few dogs in the past, it means something to you.
Like they become part of the furniture. People go, "Oh, you own them, and they just race for you." No, they don't. You have an affection with them.
Yeah.
Like the dog, Billericay Blue, for example, he had a heart attack on the track at Central Park. I cried my eyes out.
Yeah.
I've never cried like that for a long time.
Yeah.
And people go to me, "Our owners are selfish. They don't really care." Well, no, I was in bits. And it hurts you. And it takes a long time to get over stuff like that.
Yeah.
And people think, I'm passionate about the game, but sometimes it drains you. It does drain you.
It does drain you. I do totally agree with you. Let's have a look then at this next race that's coming up, because we've got 3 minutes to the betting.
better out to get the 3 here. Millridge Connor 11-4 with them, 2-1.
Yeah, I have
on
to
the
say,
boards.
I made the dog quite a big price, and I was quite surprised that he was as short as he was
It
on
had-
the earlies. So
Had to
They're
read.
bigger
Is this
than
the one that had to
Betfair.
read trial? Am I looking at the right dog here? Had to read trial. It was involving a little bit of fighting.
yeah, it's a clearing trials. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I saw. Well, I've gone for a big price here. Union Blues, top 4. I just think it's been missing the break. So not been getting into the race, but it's been showing good early. There's not great early in 1 and 2. 3, little bit of a character, shall we say? So that could possibly miss the break. And I would be taking a flyer on 4 small stakes, just maybe he's leading round and see if you can see a little bit of improvement. That's my angle in.
Yeah, my angle was 5. I thought 5 ain't got bad early pace. The line of form with Zari Rosie wasn't a bad line of form, and I don't think this is going to take a lot of beating. Trap 1, I know they got him at 7-4, but I wasn't too impressed with
It's
this
short,
dog.
isn't it?
Yeah, I think
11
for
to
me,
8 now.
yeah, I had a real slow starter, not a Romford type. So this could prove me wrong, but it wouldn't be for me.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think 5's enormous. I made 5 slight favourite.
Agree, PL.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5 was my selection as well. It's been interesting seeing people's selections on the match bet, and before the prices go up, it was almost 50-50 the split of choice of dogs, and as soon as the prices go up, the selections just veer towards the favourite. And it's very, very interesting how much people follow the prices rather than their own card reading.
Yeah.
Match bet.
The thing is with 3,
it's 1v2.
Oops. Yeah, if 3 got off the front,
Sorry,
you might see a different. I couldn't bet it at 2-1 with its history, but if it got off the front, it might just keep going, might it?
I think if you look at track 3, you think he's probably had enough of the racing manager. He's slow away, middle round on forced check bumped. Because sometimes these A1s are harder to win than the maiden opens. So he's probably thought, you know what, I'll go this route. Same was probably 4, because 4's trial was a good trial. The 24-15.
That's what I mean. It's done 20. What is it? 24. I mean, I ignore that going allowance. I always ignore them.
And are we happy that the ground's all right, Billy?
You know what, Peel? I will judge when Montrose. If Montrose go around in front, then I'll be happy to say the grounds are all right.
Yeah.
It looks a bit. Romeo Cruz is one dog on the inside, one early on. I think Lessons in Life run okay. Romeo Cruz run okay.
Yeah.
I think a touch wood at the moment it's okay, but it depends what that man's doing with the hose pipe.
Right. Here we go then. This is heat 2 of the Romford Friday night 500 of maidens. We think 5 might be a bit of value here. Good luck with your bets. And away and racing. And 2's got a bright start, but early pace from 5 and 3 into the turn. And 3 will drop up on the inside of 5. And Millridge Connor goes round in front from 5 Jezebel, who's pacing up on the outside. In a pocket in behind is Swift Raisin. As they come round the last 2 turns, 3's kicked on. Millridge Connor, there was money for this one, has gone on 2 lengths clear from Swift Raisin up on the inside, who's staying on but won't get there. 3 has beaten 1 and 5.
Another workout for the shoulder.
I'm not convinced about this ground. I think it might be.
You think it's better on the inside, Peel?
I think it's better middle to rails. Yeah, I do. I do. There's 3 to cut the bend there, and just turn left. Really, I do. I thought it a bit earlier, and I'm convinced now.
Come here, man.
I just thought he was a strong dog. As I said, sometimes these maidens are easier than the A1. So they've dropped it into a maiden open, and then it's got off the front. Every race he's found trouble slow away, but tonight it's catapulted and it's shown good pace. As I said, in the trial, he's done 24 dead. So I think that might be half decent time.
Yeah.
5's with it, but 5's got to be off the front.
Yeah,
one's strong. One's run over 500, 4.62. So. I don't think 5's, fell in a hole drastically. I just think they're 2 strong dogs that are in front of him personally. But I might be wrong, PL.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That is a fair comment because sometimes when let's get it right. Quirky dogs are quick dogs, aren't they? And
Yeah.
as you say, there is a time on the card which says that he's good enough to win the race, and he got to the front, and therefore he's good enough. So yeah, fair play.
And the thing is, Peel, if you look at the dogs he's been running against, Glengar, Daisy, Bonville Jack, they're not fools, are they?
No.
He was 2-1 favourite against Bonville Jack.
Yeah.
So he has got pace, the dog.
Yeah, and he got to the front, and it's a different when he was on the front. Yeah, I'll painfully hold my hands up there.
I've just seen Kenny's message there in the chat. He wants to know what my biggest bet of the night is. And I think this is the race now. Montrose looks to be best drawn, lads, doesn't it? I mean, it looks to have a fantastic draw. I think. I am
a little bit worried about the one. A 13:54 sectional will probably lead it.
It probably will, but it's done
I still think Montrose is the best drawn dog on the card.
Tom, sorry to cut you off there. Did you see what box that was from? When he done that split?
From
box 3, wasn't it?
Yeah.
From 3.
I just think they all want reels.
I think 1 wants 3, and I think 2 wants red. And
I think 1 and 2 are drawn wrong, Billy. I'm the same as you, mate. Yeah.
And that's what. And 5's edging in, 4's edging in. As I said, I was doing the card last night and I've done it again this morning. And I said to my friend Gary Thompson, I said, I just can't get away from this Montrose on the draw. I cannot get away from it. And if you go back to a line of form, he has beat Drum Do It Bomber at Yarmouth.
Yeah.
So it's a good line of form. And what price would that dog be in this race?
It's been staying on strongly at Yarmouth as well, hasn't it? From off the pace, so it can probably do it both ways. I don't think 6 needs to lead. Fair enough, it doesn't want to give 1 any sort of a lead, but I can't see. I think there's going to be trouble on the inside here, and 6 is just going to mind its business, and it could lead, but it can also win from off the pace as well.
I think coming off the pace in the trial to beat Corin Logan's impressive enough, because that's not a bad sight.
Owner of 2, Paul Wing. We own 2, think he wants red.
Yeah, agree.
Similar to what you boys said.
Good luck, Paul.
Yeah, and Bresbet were 2 to 5, 6 to beat 4 here. I just can't see 4 getting any sort of run. Once reels from 4, there's a little bit of early pace inside it. I think Harry Findlay will be having a little bit of that 2 to 5 if you could. Just in the match bet, 6 to beat 4.
So, Tom, I remember the dog. Remember D-Star Lord?
I do.
I'll tell you a funny story about this, because you run it at Wimbledon.
Mm-hmm.
Me, Nick Hanshaw, Jamie Brinkley, and a few of the boys were going to Wimbledon, and we absolutely fancied Market Heights for our life. And we were going around all the shops before, and I remember I think you and Kenny was there on the night, it led up, and you roared it, and I thought, and in my opinion, and this is we all have opinions. I thought, I don't think it stays. Do they know more than me? And then you kept roaring, and I thought, and then I think, have we done a money? And all of a sudden, I see Market Heights come from different parish, and it did stay. Because that was with Hutton, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was treading. It was treading water. I always buy dogs without a trip, and he was a 7 bend dog. I had Early Impact, who was a 5 bend dog. And the strong running ones, you think, well, let's step them up. If they stay, that's going to be great. They rarely do. And I suppose to some extent, that is a little bit of the worry here with Montrose. I remember we ran Early Impact around 575 once. He got chinned on the line by Steve's Dream. One dark night.
Never. Steve's Dream chinned. Steve Dream never chinned anything on the line.
Early Impact joint held the track record around the 509 at Swindon. So, and that's a good gallop that. So, wasn't much further. And I do think that is really a worry of Montrose. They look like they stay, but will they definitely stay when they get into that final 50 metres?
PL, is your watch broken?
I totally agree.
Say again.
Is your watch broken? Because it's usually about 9:15 before you go for your first piss, mate. It's just 25:07 now. Unders, backers and clover. 8.5 pints he had last week or the week before, Bill, before he went for a piss. It was
unbelievable.
It was. Unbelievable. That's some bladder, that. Right. We were just talking about Montrose.
No, and this is my well, and again, Billy will back me up here. You see him so many times at Romford. It's a bit of a levelling ground sometimes. You think they're going to stay, and until they actually go and do it, you don't know. But I'm the same in that I think this draw's an absolute fantastic draw because Maple Patsy, I've got like running into lane 3, and I've got 4 moving into 2, and it's just an absolute draw to die for. And I think he's the best dog as well over the sort of a 500-metre trip maybe, but whether he truly stays, but I actually don't think he'll have to. And
the only dog you don't need to turn behind you is trap 1. If 1 don't turn close to you, I think he's on my nose personally.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think 1 and 2 could easily
come together,
get involved with each other as well. So.
And when was the last time? October. One's had its last look round. Romford was 22nd of October.
And actually, I have to say, when he didn't lead, he didn't look like he stayed either.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So although he probably sees 550 out at Henlow, okay, again 575, you've still got to get over the line, and although
and Six has already beat the 3 round Yarmouth. I know it's the form not necessarily stack up at Romford, but it's beat it comfortably 8 3/4.
Yeah.
You wouldn't imagine they turn that round. Seeing badly crowded, but
and back on the 7th of January as well.
Yeah,
he beat him as well. So
yeah, I just think there was too many pluses not to get involved with this dog. I made him a 5-4 chance. I backed him at 13-8 today.
Yeah, I got 13.
I just thought I was always told you back a dog with a good draw, and this dog's fast enough, good enough, and it's got a great draw. And I was worried about 1, but I thought if 1 was in 3, then I would have been a little bit more worried. But one's in a box what I want him to be in, and 2's in the as a betting perspective. If you had them, you'd be a little bit worried the way they landed. But other than that, I'm all over 6. I think he's very, very well drawn.
I agree. I can see 1 getting chopped at the bend.
And sorry to cut you off, John, but as I said, I think I said earlier on in the meeting, he had a trial on the 7th of Jan. He's not been back since, and you give him a 400. So do they know he stays, and they don't want to show their hand, and that's why they've come fresh with a 575. Yeah. They've taken in 2 more 4.62s at Yarmouth, and now they've come back. They think the dog's ready to go, and I'm hoping it is the night, and they unleash him. So.
Yeah,
agree with that. I was just thinking. I think
the other thing, Billy, is kind of when you're betting dogs, you want them to have a good draw, and this dog has got an absolute mother of a draw.
PL, he's the best drawn dog of the night, in my opinion.
He is, yeah.
It gives you a little bit more scope for error, doesn't it? If you've got a good draw, it gives you a little bit more scope for error. You can half miss the. You don't need a bingo break if you've got a good draw.
Yeah, you can still get away with it. Yeah. Anyway, cheers.
Cheers, everyone. I'm going to top up. Let me get 2 seconds.
I'm worried I'm going to get through my 3 and have to go for the emergency Kronenbergs. I bought them on holiday in France. They're tiny little cans, and they just get me off my face. And I don't know why. I do not know why. They absolutely ruin me.
Is it because they're full of alcohol, do you think, Tom? Or?
It might be a fact. It might be the fact that they're the beer I have when I've run out of other beers. So,
cheers, lads, on the Moretti now.
Yeah, good choice. A man of taste.
Tell you what, I'll go and have a Camden's as well.
Moretti always reminds me of Eddie Goodall. He loves the Moretti.
He's in Ireland, I think.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Have you been to the coursing, Billy?
Do you know what? I've always wanted to have a dog for it, but never really knew enough about it to get involved. But I bought a nice pup off of the Crafty Man, and they do a lot of coursing, and they're really, really good at it. So I've spoke to him a couple of times about it, and maybe next year I might look at it, because I was a little bit sceptical if it was going ahead. It wasn't going ahead, and they're there now, aren't they? And
getting a dog into Clonmel is not easy.
No,
you've got to win a stake, and there's only so many of them, and the quality of the dogs is fantastic. And if someone finishes second in one stake with a really good dog, they're going to the next stake. It's I think it's one of the hardest competitions to get into in the whole of the sport.
And that's what makes it so fantastic when you win it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Do you know what the hardest thing
actually,
is, Tom? Trying to get a Romford dog. The amount of times I've tried to buy a Romford dog, and you think that's a Romford dog, and you bring it over, just don't run the track, don't take to it, don't break, and you think to yourself, "What am I doing?" I think it's the hardest place to purchase a dog for 400 meters.
Yeah,
I really
agree.
do.
It's my dream to have a Friday night regular winning open class Romford dog. That would make me very happy in the sport.
Well, I was quite lucky. Like I owned Ballymac Miko, and for me, he was the best dog I've ever owned. He was an expensive purchase. Liam Darling rang me and said, "I've got a Romford dog for you." I said, "Oh, Liam, fuck off, leave me alone. Keep ringing me, buying dogs." And he kept ringing me, and I thought he's doing my fucking nothing. But he kept ringing. I thought. So I rung Gal, who I buy dogs with. I rung Jim. I said, "Look, he's trying to sell me this dog. This dog must be a three-legged dog or something like that. He's trying to sell me." So he was adamant, but fair play to him. He was like, "You know what? He is your dog." I said, "Okay." So I said, "Send him over." So he sent him over. And I always believe, and I'm a big believer in it. I think if you do graded time first look at a track, you can make open class. I've always believed that, and I swear by it. So I think he done around a 24.80. And I always thought, that's not a bad run. And then we rushed him into the Puppy Cup, and it was a big rush. And it never really materialised. And then we took the maiden route when we come out of it, and he never looked back. And I thought, you know what, you've settled, And he was, he was a proper dog. He gave me and the other owners, me, Jim, and Gary, some great times when we went over to Ireland for the Bar 1 sprint. He finished runner up to Grangeview 10. We was over there, and it was lockdown.
That's some run, yeah.
Yeah, we was lockdown. We was in the hotel room with me, Jim, his brother, and Gary, and we was pissed in the hotel room, and we couldn't be in the bar. It was all of us drinking, till the early hours of the morning. There was bottles of wine and typical Jim and his brother, obviously being typical jocks. Me and Gary, the English lads, we had to cop the bill because it was in our room, so it was a nightmare. I think it was like €340 the drink bill. It was a nightmare.
So you're starting the meeting behind, thinking you've got a better winner to get that money back, Bill, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
But this is what sort of pisses punters off with the account restrictions and whatnot. So I've bet Montrose 13-8. Bill, you have. I'm not sure if the lads have as well, but there'll be 13-8, 6-4 generally all day. You're betting this 3 and 4 hours before the meeting. It's now 2.2, 6-5, 5-4 on Betfair. You've beat the starting price, haven't you? So you're effectively you're on the hit list of the books. I'm not saying all of them, but this is the sort of thing what gets accounts closed. And does it warrant it? What have we actually like? It doesn't take any expertise to really say that Montrose is a reasonable. You know what I mean? To go better 13-8.
I think I'm not too sure whether 13-8 and 6-5 would be the sort of. I think it's when you're betting dogs at 6s and they end up 2s, and things like that. Listen, I don't know. I'm not. I don't think that necessarily would get an account closed. I mean, listen, I can't remember the last time I had an account of my own name. So,
that's fair enough.
But I don't really bother now. I think you just have to sometimes go with the flow and try. Yeah, you're trying to use other people's accounts and beg, steal, and borrow. I understand that, and people get money on for you. I get what you're saying, John, but I think this is what's happened, and we have to try and just duck and dive.
But I just think if they're closing accounts for people beating the price on Montrose, and I'm not saying they are, but this is the sort of thing why they do close accounts. They're losing themselves.
Because they've got no strong opinion themselves, and so they're chalking up prices that don't really mean anything. So this is something that obviously we keep sort of saying, why don't they invest, and why don't they, especially although it's not the best card in the world on a Friday night, but there still are open class, or whether it be maiden open class, at least the form's there, and it's kind of form that spins round. I think that's probably. Billy will agree. That's what you kind of get interested in. That's why I was interested when he said to get a Friday night Romford dog, because I think the last time I did that, I got a dog called Brogan T-Bone, and he was just a joy to own. He was
he's great.
a great.
I think
Romford
PO.
dog.
I think I was at Central Park when did he catch his paw down the hair rail?
You
I
hurt
was
himself
there.
badly.
Yeah,
And you said I didn't say anything, but you said earlier on you was in tears. I was in tears in the vet's room that night.
He was a fast dog, PO, wasn't he?
Fast. And a nice dog, a big lump of a dog at night. Really, really nice dog. And to be fair, he was with David, and we moved him because Mark was looking for dogs really to go in the Trainers Championship, and we kind of moved him to help that situation really, and he ended up winning the scurry for us. We went to the Trainers Championship. He trialled at the same venue, Central Park, and went lame in the trial.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't have any issue with. It wasn't the venue I had any issue with. It's just I just thought that's him. It happened, and we found him a great home. But he was another like you. I listened to what you were saying, Billy, and you kind of think probably the same wavelength as me. And you love Romford. You can spot the right type of dog, and he was a dog that really gave us loads of enjoyment, the same as you got enjoyment with Ballymac Nico.
Yeah.
Let's try and get Montrose home then, will we? Heat 1 of the Friday night Fire of the Maiden Stayers. Main players here are in 1 and 6. Hair approaches. Up go the lids off from racing, and 5's bombed out. Maple Patsy into the turn with Montrose up on the outside.
Yes.
They're clear
Go
then
on, 6.
of Monbeg Bosco as they come out the second bend. The 6 is alongside the 5. Circuit to race. Still 5. Maple Patsy with the lead from up
go on,
the
6.
outside. Montrose is trying to assert now. And at the 3/4 pole, it's still 5. 5's kicked away now, gone a length and a half clear from the 6 Montrose. And then in behind these comes Monbeg Bosco. But it's still 5. Maple Patsy with the lead from Bernie Doyle, and up on the outside, Montrose trying to close. 5 from 6. 5 beats 6. Close between 2 and 1, back in third.
Dare I say it, that is a dog not used to running 6 bends. It's stopped after 4 bends and then gone, we're still racing. I'm going to kick on again.
Jesus. 5 wouldn't be the strongest steer either, would it?
I'll be brutally honest with you. I thought once he turned second, I thought it was good night Vienna, to be fair.
I didn't think 5 really stayed either. So
No. I tell you who has run a good race. If you look back at it, and maybe they're just non-stayers in front, but if you go back, look at 1.
Yeah,
one has run a hell of a race.
He's gone chopped there.
Yeah, if you watch the replay and watch 1, because that is took off. Because it's absolutely missed it.
And moving off and ran off out the second bend,
6 has got a challenge throughout comment on its card. 19th of
January.
January.
He hesitated there, actually.
Yeah,
he did.
Going to the 5th.
Well, that's where he'd
He
normally
definitely
be
threw his
slowing
head
down.
up a little bit. I think he was running in snatches a little bit, that dog.
Yeah. I mean, is the outside dead?
No,
I
think
not really. He's run the same line as 5, hasn't he?
I don't want to cast aspersions, but I think that dog was sitting in behind there.
I do.
Yeah.
Montrose was sitting in behind.
You could be right, Peel.
It was a good workout for the cardiovascular system anyway, that fucking heart pumping.
Yeah, it was, to be fair. Yeah, I'm there with you as well.
Yeah.
God. Stunned silence in the kitchen here.
Well, it's disappointing, isn't it? Because he didn't really take advantage of his draw, did he? I think he just seemed to lug him behind the 5. He lugged him behind him.
5's not the strongest steer over 6 bends either.
Not
it's
at all.
been picked up after leading a long way. So, anyway, dust ourselves down. Let's have a look at Central Park.
We move on.
Billy, all I can say is it's looking good for Drum Do It Bomber in the last.
Hopefully.
Man,
That was our charity bet gubbed again. Texan Bresvet, will you ever win for the charity? The day will come and it'll be beautiful. On the subject of accounts being closed for winning a bet, they've said not with us. If punters bet first thing with us and beat us, good luck. We do invest. We have a compiler who solely does opens.
That's fair enough, isn't it?
They don't like an arbor. They will close you if you're an arbor. But
if you're betting 30 seconds or 10 seconds before the off, obviously no boot wants that.
Yeah.
But Do books, do they have to keep betting right until they're off? What's stopping a bookmate from suspending 2 minutes, 90 seconds before the off to fend them people off? What sort of business are they losing?
Well, you know how much, but everyone's just in the habit, aren't they? Everyone puts, well, not everyone, but a lot of people get their bets on in the last 30 seconds before. And, you know, people watching this, they talk about the race a minute or two before.
Yeah.
We talk about the race 5 minutes before. If you haven't got, if you're not making your own opinion, you've got quite a short window to get other people.
To get the bet on. Yeah, I agree with that.
Stanley thinks Montrose is genuine, clearly doesn't stay, no excuses, bad value.
Thanks for that. Could have told us before the race, couldn't
On the after time express.
Okay, now. Time after time. Cyndi Lauper sang a song about that, didn't it? Fuck me.
Yeah. I must have, listen, I was a bit.
Give it 10 minutes, Terry, for fuck's sake.
I don't think that was non-staying. I don't think it was non-staying, but I've got my own theory. But
I agree with you, but it just ran the same line as 5 all the way around. Could have gone past a couple of times down the back.
I think he even cocked his head in the running as well. But
he was fine. He was fine for the first 4 bends. And this isn't a galloping track. He's more used to a bit more of that. I just think I wouldn't bring him back here. I absolutely wouldn't bring him back here.
Nah, he's not going to get a draw like that again, is he?
No.
I think I'd have a go with him, but just to see if it wasn't the ground or it wasn't the dog, I'd have to give him some kind of squeeze. And the other thing is we've said this quite a lot, and if you remember, Tom, I think one of the first meetings we did was a lot of maidens there with quality dogs. There was 2 in particular. One was Smurf's Machine.
Yeah.
And the other one was the dog that Gleason had.
Oh, I know the dog. Bandicoot Sam.
That's
the
it.
One?
Yeah.
And Bandicoot Sammy won, but he'd had the sprint trial from the 225 boxes, whereas Smurf's Machine had a 400 trial, but then he went somewhere else, and then he came back to Romford. And if you look at Montrose has done the same. And I just wonder whether if you stick him to the same boxes, he might actually break, because he breaks well at Yarmouth, he did last time. And I think sometimes that switch of boxes can count against you.
Yeah, agree. Especially some place like Central Park where they've got the curveball.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I tell you, was the best. I'm not saying it because he's a pal of mine. The best person to bring a dog to Romford first time up was Kevin Hutton. I have never seen anyone like it. He knew the type of dog that he wouldn't have a trial. He would bring a dog that it would go smash. You know, I remember he bought George Burton. Remember this? I rung George and said, "Look, I've seen this dog." I said, and I'm a fool because I should have bought him myself. I said, "There's a dog called IB for Rocks." I said, "I think he's a right proper good dog." He went, "How much does he want?" So I tried to do the deal for the fella, and I got the deal, and it was cheap enough dog. And I remember being at Romford, and Mike and George were struggling to get there, and they rung me and said, "Bill, can you get us a bet on?" I'm thinking, "Fuck me, I want to back this dog, not just you." So, and then I'm waiting. I'm thinking I can't really take their price because they own it. And I thought, and I remember Steve Simmons going up, I think 7-2. I'll never forget it. We absolutely pummeled him. Like when we kept hitting him, and I think he went off and he won. I think he done 23.90 on debut and a maiden. He absolutely shit on. And you know, like I remember the days when we was over the other side, and when we would get a dog around in front, we would give it to them bookies. There'd be 10 of us, and we'd be like, he's it. And the bookies, you could see Roger like pulling his tash out, fuming. Harry going to get another whiskey, you know, because old Harry was the best on the corner, because you'd have Steve Simmons on the end, and you know someone will pummel Steve, and then they'll pummel Roger, and then they'll be like 7-4, and fucking Harry ain't got a fucking blind bit of notice. We used to call him C-Fax. And he still have 9-2 or 7-2, and everyone's been running in, filling him in, and he'd go, "Fucking, I didn't see that coming." Harry was 5 minutes ago, and he was. God rest his soul. He's passed away now, but he was a character. You know, he was a lovely. He used to sit downstairs. He used to sit downstairs with a shot of whiskey, drowning his sorrows if he got. Yeah,
after racing, him and Jerry always used to come and have a drink. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I have to
they-
apologise. Oh, sorry, Bill. I just have
Sorry,
to
go on, John.
apologise.
Go on, John.
I have to apologise to Terry Saunders because I said it was Terry who was after time, and in the comments it was actually Stanley Dow. So
Yeah.
we just get that cleared up. Sorry, Terry.
The first night when we absolutely did our bollocks, I got a message from Stanley saying that he thought the drink was a factor in our poor decision making.
Billy, I remember the time as well. I didn't know whether to say this or not, but I've got to say it. I mean, listen, I've had a few chances as well, but it don't matter.
Go on,
but
go on.
do you remember Lily's Cocoa?
Yeah.
My bitch Lily's Cocoa. I think it was. It might have been like it's either a Thursday afternoon or a Saturday morning. And Simo chalked up, and I always used to bet with Simo. Always, he chalked up a price, and Billy went in and he just took the first prize, and come back up on the steps, and he was by the side of me. I fancy your bitch, and I think, yeah, of course you do, yeah. And then I went and took second in, but it was one of those things where, for me as a punter, their price is very. It's not. Some people think, it's my dog, it's my price, but I'm a little bit different to that.
But PL, to be fair, there would have been many more
time.
We
cheered her on together, yeah. So that was good. She was a bandit.
She used to make me laugh.
Billy, she was a bandit. She was a complete.
Yeah,
she
bandit,
was. But do you know as well?
But
sorry, I'm jumping in. Go on, you say your stuff.
No, I said before, when we used to back a couple on a Thursday afternoon, and one of them would go around and you would shout out, "Go on, my little darling," or something, and it would just me, you, and Alan Richardson, and it would be so loud, it would be echoing, and it was brilliant just to see them cry. I loved it. There's nothing better when you see Simo, Roger, and they're just fuming. I'll tell you a quick story. We bought a dog as a syndicate, and we named him Smash the Tash, right? His kennel name was Roger, right? And this is the God's honest truth, right? This is the God's honest. We paid after. He was the next litter on from Laughing Gravy, right? And we thought, we'd buy him as a Romford dog. He was a ponce of a dog, right? If he didn't lead, he would be a white flag job. And if he led, he would be okay. And I think he's had his second race or something like that. And I didn't particularly fancy him, but I thought I was having a good Wednesday. So Roger chalked up 7-1. So I said, so I said, Roger, 700 to 1. And he took it. He scrubbed it off. This thing's catapulted out of the boxes, and it was the biggest privilege of me going, oi, Roger, the whole way around that chat. And you could see him livid with me, but he knew he was done, and it was brilliant. So my mate Gary was crying with laughter. Jim Reynolds, the trainer at the time, he was laughing his head off, and that was brilliant. It's just naming a dog after him and calling it Smash the Tash, but I wish he was a little bit better.
Good stuff.
Well, I went to... I used to go to Shelburne Sales, which was at Harold's Cross, but they kind of cancelled it, and then they went to Limerick. So I went to Limerick because they'd switched it, and I bought for some reason. Me and Lorraine went there, and I bought three. I bought 3 dogs, really cheap dogs. I think the most expensive one was €550. And it ended up a dog called Spinning Coins. I don't know if you remember him. He was like an A.
No.
Yeah, he was an A5 dog. The other 2 dogs were real raw pups, and that's why I bought them, because they showed a bit of early. I used to clock them to the third bend at a big galloping track, and then think they'll be all right for them. And I had my dogs with David Mullins at this, and I think the other 2 lads went from A8 to A2. They went right up the way through the grades. This Spinning Coins, he was a widest of wide runners. And I think he started A6 and went up to A5, and that was him, because he was just so wide. He just did not progress. He was the fastest dog out the 3 of them when in my mind. And yet, I suppose, like you say, Billy, he probably didn't really act at Romford necessarily.
Yeah.
But Alan, when you said about cheering dogs, Alan used to go, stay wide, like it was for a wide runner, and then your pace would go and nick the race. And he used to say, Spinning Coins. I remember one day he went, stay wide. He went, not that fucking wide. On the last. And he come back and he went like in a photo, and he got beat the short head, like, when we had the money on, sort of thing. But,
I've got a
right.
quick one.
Those were funny days. Like John said this as well. When you get the banter on the steps, they're just You just can't buy that. You can't buy
But
it.
I've got a quick one just before we do this racing. When you say smash the tash, reminds me of a mate of mine, Glover. He had a bit of a tash. Can you remember when the virtual racing very first started? And like every dog track's got like a booties inside, hasn't it? Like we had William Hill at Sunderland. So we walked inside. It must have been a Saturday morning, and no, it couldn't have been because I never used to. Probably a Friday. Must have been a Friday. We goes in there, and he was always backing South African, like on South African races, and he was saying, "Fucking hell, Portman Park." So he's thinking Portman Park is like fucking somewhere like Kenilworth or Fairview. He's thinking it's South African. So he's saying, fucking Portman Park. And it did have a similar name. It might have been Cab Calloway. It's had a similar name to a horse that was running at South Africa. Fancy that, come 5-2. I'm going to have 200 quid on that. So he goes to the counter, has his 200 quid on, honestly. And he's got a really camp voice. Like, to listen to him, it just gets funnier. Really camp voice. So anyway, they come out and it's cartoon racing. He just turns to the jump. What the fucking hell's this? Oh, fucking hell. I'm not betting on this. So he's trying to get the bet voided, right? He's trying to get the bet voided as it's off. But his horse goes about 3 or 4 lengths clear. So he's busy arguing with a woman behind the jump. And then he's going, go on, you cunt, go on. And then all of a sudden, right, you've seen the fucking virtual racing. And the commentator says, oh, and something's gone seriously amiss with the favourite here. And he's like, how the fucking hell can a cartoon horse go lead?
John, do you know what? John, some of them stories, you know, like back in the day when you'd sit in the bookies as a young lad and you go in there. I remember watching this geezer having a bet on a virtual race. And it's going on. And he's done his bollocks on this horse. He went, fucking jockey's held him up. And I looked, I thought, is he fucking for real? The jockeys are tough, he's held him up. And I thought, because you always get characters in the betting shop. And we were crying, me and my pal, and I said, this guy's a lunatic, you know. And
fucking brilliant, man, isn't it? But even the betting shops have lost that atmosphere, haven't they? I used to love just going, even if I was skint when I was 17, 18, I'd go and sit in there all day just for the banter. It might be sad now, but fuck me, it was great banter, I thought, at the time.
I've done, just to talk about this race, Tom. Last week, me and my friend Gary, we had £500 on the bottom.
Yeah.
And with Roger.
Yeah.
And I was having a smirk on my face because I thought I was drawing.
You thought you were going to smash the tash.
I thought I was smashing the tash, but the fishmonger had the last laugh. And the reason why I backed him, because Dave sent me the trial at Newcastle, and Dave has got a real nice pup. And you see the line of form on the car, Cachise. He'd done a 28:30 official trial, and it was bought into Dave's kennel. So that's for a young dog, it's a good trial. It went up to Newcastle. Winning the puppy derby. I think he's been knocked out now. It was a bit too soon for him personally, but it was worth a go. So I backed it on that basis, and she ran really well. Last week she hit a flat spot. I think it was off the 4th bend, and then she stayed on again. And I thought she got up, but I didn't think it was running at all on the outside last week. I thought it was dead on the outside, but. It's a tricky race. Fire Paper's been staying on, but does it stay? It's question marks on that. Trap 1, does it want to be in 1? I thought 2 run well last week in the race because it was in the same race and it was in 4 and it could get no run on the inside, and it's got a much better draw now in 2. But I'm worried what 1's going to be doing out of boxes. And I hope for Kelly Sell. She's a lovely lady. I've known her for a long, long time. So I hope for her sake the dog wins this week. Now my money's not on it. Probably my money on it, weighed it down a little bit. So I think she's got a great chance on the outside. She definitely stays because she was flying into the drop and maybe gets a bit further than 5.75 within time. Yeah,
the Russian bot is back, taking a little break from impending war on Ukraine, saying raw red. So I think they're very keen on putt for rags here.
Bill, 6 ran against 2 last week. And 2 was almost up alongside all the way around, but checked almost every bend.
Well, that was why I said it's better drawn now in 2.
Yeah.
And I thought it was, but I was concerned because I watched the videos of track 1, and when he was out of 3, I think it's a big white, black and white dog.
Yeah.
I think he wants red.
I think 5. I think 5 might front off here. You're right. It might not stay. But there's no pace in 4, so I think 5's got to clear to the bend. 6 will stay out of the argument early.
To cut you off, when she trialled against this Cachiche dog who done a 28:30 at Shelbourne, she led it. She led him.
Oh, right.
She led him. So she's not redundant for any early. Let me tell you, she just hits a flat spot within her races, and then she stays on again.
She got hampered at sort of between the 4th and 5th.
Yes, one moved off on her PL. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you did. But I'm always one of them. When I've done my money on a dog, it's like Montrose. I think I'll leave that alone for a little while until I can.
Yeah.
Because it's just one of them things. I think I'll leave it.
I actually favour Fire Paper only on the premise that I thought he ran really well. But you're right, John. I'm not too sure whether he's going to stay or not. But
off the front PL.
Fire Paper. I thought he ran really well last week behind Corin Logan.
Yeah, I'd take a chance on 2 because I thought 2 was unlucky in and now better drawn because last time was in 4.
Okay, here we go then. It's heat 2 of the Fire Maiden Stayers. 575 metres a trip. Air approaches. And away and racing, and it is 5 that just shows into the turn, Fire Paper, and cuts across the field and goes on. Bernie Doe has around about a 2-length lead from on the inside, then Nola's Beauty. On the outer is Anastasia. Full circuit's a race, and it is Fire Paper that just cuts across Nola's Beauty, goes on by a length and a half. Nola's Beauty trying to stay on into the penultimate turn, and it is still Fire Paper just chops again. The nose off of Nola's Beauty. It's now 5 from 2, 6 staying on as they turn for the judge. 5 all out, 6 is lunging up towards the line. Fire Paper holds on. Anastasia with King Cora for real staying on probably for 3rd spot. But it's a winner. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
2 just doesn't seem to want to. It always seems to be challenging on the bend, but doesn't want to go past on the bend, does it?
I just think 5 drove him mad the whole way round. I thought. Yeah. I won't give up on 2 because bro, yeah.
No, I wouldn't. 2 done the same with 6 last week, Bill. I'm not saying.
Yeah.
It might have just been unlucky twice in a row.
6 was coming to win the race.
It was.
3 stayed on.
Every time it's come to challenge because 3 did. 3 run really well.
Mm-hmm.
But is that because PL there's trouble in front? It makes it look a little bit better, or
might be. But it's coming from.
There's schnozzled here. Look, because 6 comes into 2. Maybe not yet, but yeah, 3 has run really well. You're right, PL.
Yeah, 2's always 3/4 down at every bend.
I mean, you're right. They're probably sort of holding each other up a little bit to a certain extent. They are, but even though 3's come from a mile back.
Yeah.
And to be fair, 2, 3, and 6 all met last week, and 3 was well beat, wasn't it? But yeah.
I thought 2 was a big runner when it turned. But as I said, 5 drove it mad the whole way round. And fair play to Fire Paper, it did. It got there at the end.
Yeah, I don't need to throw this one away. I'm going to fold it and frame it.
I think Fire Paper's probably wants to be sort of 3 really, and cut the bend out of 3. Yeah,
agree, PL. And that's the problem with seeding. Like I always used to like Ballymac Miko out of 3, but you wouldn't want him in 1. But then when you've got a middle tag, you're always 9 times out of 10, 5 or 6.
Exactly.
And I think this is where you get tactical seeding, which I think is wrong because they know that. And this is where I think racing managers are not strong enough. I think they're just too weak sometimes, racing managers, where they go, you know what, you're a big trainer, you can get what you want. And it shouldn't be the case. If you're not happy with like for me, there's not many tracks now. So a trainer or an owner can't really say, well, I don't like you as a racing manager. If you don't accept him as a middle, I'm going to go somewhere else. We ain't got that many tracks to go somewhere else. So you've got to, if you think it's a middle, then trial the dog. Something I like that they've done now at Romford, and I had a bigger conversation with Ian Smythe on this. I said, he was talking to me because, to be fair, I know he gets a lot of stick, but every time I've had an issue with him or one of his tracks, I pick up the phone and he's always been all right with me. And I can only judge people how they are with me personally. So I would ring him. I'm not saying he's the greatest person in the world and he's great for the sport, but what I'm saying, whenever I have an issue and I ring him, he addresses it. And I said to him many times, like, he was moaning to me about, not a lot of outside trainers not coming to trial. So that's because you try and change the trial time. You used to trial on a Tuesday. I said, now you have a race meeting, and now on a Wednesday, you now have, put your trial session out. You can't ask someone from up north or in the Midlands to trial on a Wednesday and race your dog on a Friday. I said, it just can't happen unless you're a lunatic. So I said, why don't you to other days of the week, you're set on, and it was probably mainly Peter O'Dowd on this because he was strict as anything. Just one day. And I said to him, every other track, you trial on a Saturday, a Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Why not a Friday night? If they're bringing a van full of dogs, why not? Logistically, it makes more sense to put a dog in for a trial before racing. And fair play to him, he has put that in place. And I'm not only here to say he's brilliant or this, but what I will say, if something's been done, it's been done right for right for greyhound racing, I'll say well done. Because that's what I'm about. I'm being fair. And putting that on for everyone, makes a big difference. And then you've got people like Angela Harrison was trialing on a Friday night. Then she comes back for the competition and then she wins it. And that's a big difference. If you weren't allowed to do that and you've got to come on a Wednesday morning, would she have come?
No, not from Newcastle.
Yeah, exactly.
So and again, you have to be fair to change. You have to give everyone the opportunity to trial on certain days. Like Hove do it, one more. Nottingham, you can all mix it around, but you can't just say trial on a Wednesday because you've got to wait the whole next week then to have dogs in, because you can't ask a dog to trial Wednesday and then run Friday. You could get away with it on a Tuesday because I used to love a dog that would trial I would go and watch trials on a Tuesday every week, and you could see a couple trial when they wasn't videoed or streamed and you think, God, that's run well.
Yeah.
I'll take that all day long. And you'd be hoping it got a decent draw and it was running in the maiden. You'd be like, oh, thank God for that, because no one else has seen it because there's no videos or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I think you have to do your own work. But at the moment, the trial, I'll go to Romford, on the trial times, and the times are all over the place. They don't stand up, and I just, 1 minute they look quick, they look slow, and I just scratch my head and I think.
It's the thing about the going again, Bill, isn't it?
Yeah.
How much would have to change for a track to go -20 to +40, 60 spots difference?
John, you say that, is it? Yeah. It was like the other week, as I said, my friend Bobby, he owns Dapper Rodney. That dog come unbars when he was in track one the other week. And I said to myself when I was watching it, that's a 34.80 run. That's a 34.90 run. And it come up and it was 35.40. I thought, fuck off, is that 35.40? I couldn't believe it. When you're shocked, you think, that just don't add up. So I'll take, at the moment, and I think what a lot of people do now, you can't really take the times. You have to take it with a pinch of salt because you have to go by your eye. And we've all been in the game where you look at a dog and think, fuck me, that's taken off. And you don't, you can clock it yourself, but 9 times out of 10, I'm like, it was like the last race, and I'm not saying it. Like, I was looking at the race, it's 35.26 put for race. I'm thinking, how is that done 35.26?
I calculated.
And you think yourself, so I judge it by what I see. And I saw the Dapper Rodney dog when he done the 35.40, I thought it was rubbish. I thought, no way has he done that.
Yeah.
I just ignore the goal. I just ignore them totally. You have to ignore them totally, otherwise you can get yourself too much caught up in it, can you?
I would disagree there. I don't think you ignore them totally, but I get what you're saying. I think sometimes you have to take them with a pinch of salt. In that, I think going allowances, and again, I do Doncaster now, and it's -40 at the start. It's -40 at the finish.
But well, is it -40 on the reels and the wide PR?
Yeah, well, that was something else I was actually going to introduce. So you're spot on there, John, as well. But what my argument is, if it pisses down the rain at the start of the meeting and it's fine at the end, and the tracks has gone round all the way in between, how can it be exactly the same? And it's not. Yeah. And we used to laugh and joke about Nottingham. Nottingham used to go minus 40, minus 30, minus 20, then they end up minus 40, minus 60 at the end of it. And you just think, how'd you get there by the same token? Do you know what I mean? But
Hall Green was like my fucking Brisbane balance tonight. Minus 100, minus 200, minus 300, fucking minus 1100 by the end of the night. You're thinking, fuck me, how are they running in there?
That's a quote of the night. That
but I think sometimes, you know, if it's pissing down the rain and the track's heavy, then yeah, by all means, you have to take that into consideration to go in. But you know, the weather we've had the last 4 weeks, especially at Romford, it's been very, very questionable. You know, minus 40, minus this, and I'm just a bit like, it don't sit too well with me from a punting perspective, you know, and I think that's where you lose a lot of people with interest, with wanting to go on a Friday night, thinking, am I backing on a fair playing field? And that's all you want, you know. Like I say before, whenever you go to when you go to Shelbourne Park and these places, and you look at the way that they do a track, you know, with a Bowser. Can you imagine them just hose piping at Shelbourne Park? Can you imagine Owen McKenna, Buckley, and all of these people? They would strangle him because they know it's not right, you know. And for me, it's something that needs to be looked at, especially the
Billy, you say it's something that needs to be looked at, but who's going to look at it? Because there's no one looking at it, mate. There's no one is. No, that's the crux of it. Is you're right, and this is why I think, like with Tom would say, that everyone here would know the game inside out, and our opinions would be fairly level based, decent opinions, and yet that means nothing. And we're the people that own the dogs in this sport, and just get ignored, and it's like it's mind blowing, really.
This is a question for you, and this is always, I put this to Jim on quite a regular basis. You know, being a trainer, being in the sport where, you know, we have quite good conversations because he was at Walthamstow where it was the pinnacle and he loved it, you know, and we chat. And we all, for me, any Greyhound person, you would class a Greyhound as an athlete, right? So preventing injuries and stuff like that. So if you asked a footballer, a rugby player, or any other sportsman when you warm up, right? So you'd go out, you'd warm up, you jog, you do anything else. So we're asking a dog that's been sitting in the kennel for 4 hours, 3 hours. We put it out of the kennel, put the lead on it, put a jacket on, and you walk it up and down, and you put it in the boxes. I would love to see a sports scientist to come in and look at that. And could you not, before 5 minutes, 10 minutes before a race, the next 6 that are coming out, do you have a walking machine to get that dog's muscles right? Because I don't know. Listen, I'm not an expert, but what I'm saying is, could you warm that dog? Would it prevent muscle injuries? Would it prevent stuff like that? You know, when you have hocks and stuff like that, and you know, sometimes it's just bad luck. But when muscle injuries, I always think to myself, if you, like, we're all getting on now. If any of us went and played football, we would not go on a fucking football pitch without having a jog and having a stretch up, because you know, at our age, we're pulling something and you're feeling it the next day. So
I'm struggling at the minute with Saya.
So the older you get as a dog, right? You know, you've had 40 races. It's a cold December night. You're sat in that kennel for 3-4 hours. You then put the lead on, you put the jacket on, and you walk up and down. There's no jog. And I know they say you want the muscles to be tight.
They might have been in the van for 3 hours before that.
Exactly. So for me, is there something that tracks can put in place? And it might not be for everyone. They might go, this fucking owner, what's he talking about? You don't know. But I'm talking, we all think Greyhounds are athletes, right? And I do as well. You know, you feed them like athletes. They're trained to be athletes. Could they not be something that they could do?
Yeah, you know, it would involve employing more staff, I think.
Sorry, I just saw something come up there that Tom put up from someone's made a comment about regarding Australia. They actually have they call it like a teaser or something like that, where they get the dogs to watch the hair go around. So it's a similar thing. Billy, to what you're saying is it's getting the adrenaline going. Yeah, so
it's like showing Kosher pork pie for an hour before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
sorry, just 1:40.
But it's a great point, because obviously, Billy, you've been in the football game, and when you watch elite football now, they warm up, and sometimes someone says, "Oh, yeah, he was on the team sheet, but he's pulled out because he's hurt himself warming up," and that happens. So if it happens warming up, it can happen during the game.
And you know, for me,
during the race.
And And for me, Arsene Wenger was a main factor within football to change the game of football. When he came into the English Premier League, he changed all aspects of football. Diet, the food, the way that the players conducted themselves.
Yeah.
And you look at the
He had them doing yoga and all sorts, didn't he?
And so for me, the players now are a lot faster. They're a lot stronger. Is that because, the diet's changed? Is it because the sports science is so more far superior to that? Whenever we play football, you warm down. The dog gets put back in the cage. He stiffens up. He gets in the van and he goes home. And I've been to tracks with Jim and Sue, and we you get the dog out of the van, you put their feet out, and then they go to bed. Is there a warm down in process? And I know sometimes it's time and stuff like when you have a kennel full of dogs. But I would love to see, and it would never happen because the GBGB don't want to put their money down and experience stuff like that. But sports science is massive for me in all sorts of in all sports. Rugby. Look, you only have to look at rugby players. They used to be lager louts, big bellies, and then they run on the pitch and smash each other to smithereens. Now they're athletes. Dogs are changed. The breeds have changed. They are athletes. So do we warm up dogs before they go? Do they have 5 minutes on a walking machine? So their muscles are warm. They're ready to go. So they put the coat on. Then you do the walk up and down the boxes, and then they're ready to go. I would love to see someone try it and see if it for 6 months, and would it prevent injuries, muscle injuries for that reason? Because we have a lot of muscle injuries. We do. And sometimes it is over racing dogs. Sometimes it's dogs running lame. But I would love to see that and put in place if they could try. If it would be one track to try it and see if it prevented injuries going forward.
Be a good experiment, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Just going to put up a comment here on the next race. That's all right. It's fine. It's all good. It's what we're here for. 8:17. We've had to go with trap 3. Not his trap, but I'm waiting for his pup to go 5:75. Thought ran well at Taste of video. I'd say I could not agree more. That is
I'm in the same boat.
Exactly how I've read the race. 6 will not stay well enough in this race. It will get picked up by something.
But 5, I don't think 5's won in 21 races. And if you look, it's like second, third, half a length, 3/4. And that's in graded company as well as open. So couldn't really be betting the 5. I agree with you, Tom, on the 6. I don't think it'll stay. So I looked at, let me see what I have for this one. I'd probably play the inside 4 against the outside 2 if I had a Betfair account. Because you've got, I mean, it's better than laying them. I'd be backing 1, 2, 3, and 4 and taking 5 and 6 on here.
The only thing I'll say about 6, the company that he's been running with are far superior to anything. Like I watched 5. I watched 6's run on the 23rd of Jan. It didn't run the bends particularly well, but it's got serious pace on the straights. And to be fair, is Romford going to be his track? He's trialled here. He's done a 13.64, which is a great split first look. The winner, obviously, I Am's a Dream's a good bitch. She's done a 35.21, and obviously he's done a 35.93. But I just didn't like the way that this dog run the bends at Toaster, and I didn't put him down as a Romford dog. Wallace, you always have to be very, very, very careful when you put Shrewd Wallace. He knows how to get one ready. The owner as well, O'Hara, he's always had an half decent stayer wrapped around him. I think talking about market heights, Tom, I think he owned market heights. This guy, O'Hara, and I personally think, you wouldn't want him getting too far off the front. But I agree with what you're saying on 3. I watched a video of 3 when he was in track 1 at Toaster, and he got checked at the first. Yeah. And he stayed on like a train.
Is that not Jamie O'Hara, the footballer?
No, it's not. Because I used to think that. But it's not. But yeah, Lightfield Styles was 4-1 earlier, and I can see he's obviously 7-2. Just worried with 4 on his outside with rails to middle comments, and I think 6 could lead. I just don't. Does he stay? Massive question marks.
Huge question mark. And there's some decent dogs in this. There's some very good 4-band dogs. And again, we don't know which of them will stay, but it's only going to take one of them.
Yeah. And Tom, just a quick
that's what we are saying it, Tom.
Team Rebel. Great dog, right? It's only been beat a length from 3/4 by that. What price would Team Rebel be in
I've
this?
got to tell you, I actually... Belterio was a dog that Eddie Goodall sort of highlighted to me. And I've looked at him. I thought, oh, he's just a plodder. He's a plodder dog. He's got class, but against the best. He's a plodder dog. And I thought in this race, I looked at his makeup. I thought, Jesus, this dog has got some draw here.
Yeah.
And I think he's been crying out for further than 500 because of his kind of one pace attributes, if you like. So I thought 575 would be suitable for him. But I've got the niggling doubt that of what I've listened to you as well, and I've thought that already, is that I'm not really sure whether Romford would necessarily be his track. And he's just one of those dogs that I think he's not really one of my dogs necessarily because of his sort of style of running. He's a bit one pace, he's a bit gangly. But I think his class is I think he's different class to these. So that's my dilemma. And I'm one of them where
even money, Phil.
He's holding me back. Well, I'll make him evens. I kind of wanted to make him 4 or 5, but I ended up making him evens, and that was what I made him. And what I circled
11 to 10 in the ring here.
I circled 15 to 8 Coral last night because I always look Corals. They price up early, and they went quickly 13 to 8 this morning.
Yeah,
and I could understand that. But now,
see, PL, this is where me and you would be arguing on the steps, and I'd be offering you 11 to 10.
Yeah, but,
you know what I mean?
but then I wouldn't say. Yeah, but you're right because I wouldn't, John. 11 to 10's no difference to evens. It's not enough for me, and so I am fence sitting here. If he wins, I'm not surprised, and if he gets beat, I'm not surprised. It's one of those, mate. But I can't see any value anywhere else.
Pierre, what about track 3 in the place market?
What about it?
Would he be any value there?
I don't know. As I say, I'm not strong enough. I think they're all going. I think 3's going across, 4's going across.
Yeah,
5 would be moving middle. I just think 6 has got a fantastic makeup, but I don't know. Yeah, it's one of them. It scrambled my head in the end. It's just it was one of those I wanted to put in a line bet, and yet if you would ask me to bet him, I don't want to bet him.
Yeah,
I don't want to bet him.
He could be one where you look and think. Sorry, John.
Sorry, I just want a quick run for the FA Cup score. I think we've lost track of them the last few races.
It is 4-3. Jack Bingham's in the lead.
It's close then. Very close. And who's got who here, John?
7. Fatwaz has got trap 5 and Jack's got trap 6. So it's 5v6, yeah.
Interesting race then. This is Heat 3. First 2 qualify for next week's Maiden Stayers final. 575 metres a trip for the 817 and away and racing. And 4's bombed out. Hourglass Sam will lead in the zone just in front of Put for Junie. Then in behind these comes Lightfoot Styles. Very, very wide on the track is Beltiero. They cross the winning line with a full circuit race. Black Jacket, Hourglass Sam kicks on. A length and a half clear. Look at 6 now, making giant strides up on the outside. Beltiero's now hit the front at the 3/4 pole for Mark Wallace. It goes on. 3 lengths clear now around the last 2 turns. Beltiero, the class is going to tell. He's going to streak away in the closing stages. The glow faster stripes. Beltiero wins and wins it well. It's a race for the places only. Lightfoot Styles appears to be second. Type for third.
Was always going to steer, really, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was never in doubt, was it?
To be fair, he's run well because he hasn't took that first and second bend well.
Right.
Jesus.
He wasn't looking good round the first 2 bends, but he was
miles.
There's
not many excuses in behind either.
You know what? That's what I expected Montrose to do.
There at the second bend, that looked awful. And then he just went mad. He went absolutely mad.
But like I said, Pierre, like he's been showing pace against Fahim Rebel, and Aussie Captain. They're decent types.
Decent. They're more than decent.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm being harsh there. They're good types, but and then you're in with like A2 dogs. Look, I think we framed up track 3 there. Didn't we? We might have had the forecast there, but
aye.
I just think, as I said, you're right. As I said, I didn't want to get involved at a short price, but if he was 13 to 8 now, and you could have him off that third bend, you'd be all over it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, he was 15 to 8, and I did circle that as
15 to 8.
Yeah, he was 15 to 8 with Corals. Yeah.
Very nice.
So, but to be
fair,
Press
finished last
5 to 6, and that was more his price. To be fair, and that's what I'm saying about having the wherewithal to actually price up a race. And it is opinion. As I said to you, John, You can make him even. You make him 11 to 10. You can stand on the steps and you can say,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, no." 15 to 8 to 5 to 6 is a world of difference.
Massive
It's
eye,
massive.
it is.
Yeah,
Of course
yeah,
it is.
it is.
Massive.
So I think that puts Jack 5-3 up now, does it? Yeah.
Sick move like I do, and they bring the fucking salt and pepper ribs out. All the
You could put Finley on that as well because he moves quick and the prawns, fucking hell.
Yeah. To be fair, Kushi's tweets are unbelievable. He has me in stitches on a daily basis.
he is absolutely hilarious.
It's just the best.
If I'm having a shit day at work and someone's getting on my nerves, I just go on Twitter and I just look at his tweets and he just makes my day.
Yeah,
we're in a WhatsApp group with him, so we get the stuff that he can't even put on Twitter.
He's hilarious. To be fair, he's a good lad.
He's a good lad, Coach.
Real good lad.
Man City staunch, isn't he?
He's massive, Man City.
Yeah.
I keep saying to him that Man City should sign Declan Rice, but I don't think he's having him. To be fair,
he hates him. No.
Yeah, I think I'll be honest with you. I think the boy's class, and I say it all the time, and not just because I'm a West Ham fan. I think he's mustard, and he will not be with us next year. So
no, I like Declan. It pains me to see it. How's he shining under David Moyes? Fuck me.
He's been brilliant, Moisey, for us. I know a lot of Sunderland fans hate him, but he's been unreal for us. Really.
Bill, he took over from Sam Allardyce. Sam Allardyce kept us up and we were showing Champions League form in the back end of that season, averaging around 2 points a game for the last 14, 15 games. Moyes come in, because obviously Big Sam got the England job. Moyes came in, he spent 30 million on top of the squad what Big Sam left.
Yeah.
First game, we lose to Man City. Last minute goal, but we give a good account of ourselves. He comes out in the press and says, "I'm not going to be able to keep this shower up," more or less, And he was just like negative from the off, and he rubbed everyone up the wrong way. And every time in the press conference, he was just like full of negativity.
Yeah, a lot of West Ham.
And then he's gone to West Ham and he's pulled up trees, hasn't he?
Well, we had Pellegrini, and I was happy with him. I thought, Man City would be unbelievable, but he was on retirement fund, and then we got Moisey in, and a few fans were a bit sceptical. And I can't knock him. What he's done at that football club, we haven't signed hardly anyone.
No, he's done a good job.
To be fifth with the squad that we have, and I think we'll finish 7th, 8th because we haven't got a strong squad now. So, but it's still as a West Ham fan, you just want to stay up. That's what you want to stay up, and that's your bread and butter at the end of the day. I went to a couple of European games this year, and it's unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen West Ham play in Europe. So I took my daughter. She's got into football, and I said to her, "Look, you don't know how fucking lucky you are." I said, because when I was supporting West Ham at your age, we were fucking useless. I said, so you better enjoy this.
Division 2
around again. Yeah, I said, so enjoy it now. So, Tom, who do you support?
Arsenal.
Happy with Arteta?
It's very up and down, isn't it? Very up and down. From 3-4 games, you think he's just useless, hasn't got a clue. And then he started bringing the young players in a bit more. I think getting rid of Aubameyang was a great move. And there's a really good young foundation in the team. So, yeah, I think if he sticks to it, he's okay. I mean, who's better, really? No, there's no real standout at the moment as a top manager.
I think Pep's in a world of his own, the way that they play football.
Well, yeah, but he's got unlimited money, which
he has,
always
but
helps.
you could say that about Man United, the players that they bought. It's about bringing them together, and playing. It's the way that they play football. It's phenomenal. I know what you're saying when you're saying he has big budget. Yeah, he has got a big budget, but so did previous managers before when they went in. It's the way that they play football, the way he carries himself as a manager, and who don't want to go and watch that style of football? It's beautiful to watch.
John's back. So, John, are you off to Cheltenham this year?
Yes. I've been having loads of bother with me back. Sciatica, I'm in a bit of it's getting a little bit better, so I was touch and go. But we're all booked up, all paid
must
for.
Be the weight of all the cash you've made as a courier over lockdown.
No, well, that's another story. That I've got a few lads working now, but I went mental over lockdown. So only meant to be delivering, like, what's it called, essential goods to people
Mostly
who's
trampolines, wasn't it?
fucking trampolines, barbecues, cases of wine. Oh, fucking just
I think that is essential. Was essential. I'll
Well.
tell you what, it was like the fucking last days of Rome in it. I'll say that. I've never drunk so much.
and back to the same door every like 3 and 4 times a week with another case of wine, and I'm thinking, fucking hell. Do you not want to trampoline?
See, I spent a fortune through lockdown because there was nothing else to do. No.
Yeah.
Me and Donna, we were going to BMN stores. I was buying something for the garden every single week. Table and chair, 600 quid. Heater, it was just. I was like, this money's going down pretty quickly. You got to rein it in a bit, but it was entertaining. But I had some good barbecues at the house, so with the family, and we have a good crack, especially with Jim. Getting him on the karaoke. We had a New Year's Eve and he was singing Donald, Where's Your Trousers? And
fucking class,
brilliant.
He did that at Crayford one, by the way.
What, Donald, Where's Your Trousers?
When I was race manager at Crayford, we had a Crayford karaoke and he did that there.
What, with his trousers on, PL? Normally they're around his ankles when he does it indoors.
He had his trousers on, yeah.
We were meeting up for like 3-card brag schools and that, and just fucking. It was lockdown, but it wasn't really lockdown for us. I mean, we broke a few rules. You can't get fined now, can you, after the way Boris has been acting? So I'm actually not bothered. He's had a party, me. I mean, fuck me. He's under some pressure, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think
there's a lot.
I mean, obviously the people who's I do not want to get into politics, but the people who's lost family and that during lockdown and they weren't able to go to the funerals and then they see him having the time of his life. But that's not everybody, is it? You know what I mean? Twitter can be a place where people are just looking for rage. I actually find it quite funny, but then I haven't been affected with it the way some people have. So, but you can only see it from your point of view, can't you?
Aye.
Football, politics, we've become everything we said we wouldn't. But we're just lads, aren't we? Just like so. John, talk us through your because you go for it at Cheltenham. Talk us through your week, how it normally pans out.
Oh, fuck me. Well, there's this fella who only comes alive at Cheltenham on Twitter. I'm going to search his name, right? And all of his tweets are just about the Cheltenham show-off. So, end of this month, February, he'll be messaging me. It'll be like, any show-off news, John? Any update on the Cheltenham show-off? And I'm like, well, what the fuck do you want? You know what I mean? Do you want, like, stable information and things like that? So I try and give him a bit of news, then send the police his number so he can have his hard drive checked. But no, we usually land Monday night, Tom, in Cheltenham. We'll have a few beers on Monday. We'll conduct the all important show off draw.
Yeah, little game of cards on the train down.
Oh yeah, we'll call it a medium game rather than little. I think you're doing it. You're not doing it justice there, really, Tom.
The GDP of a small Eastern European country going down the East Coast main line.
And then, I mean, so we're in that pub. We go to the Red Lion, and that's where that Elvis statue was. So I don't know if Billy and PL remember Reggie Dave off Twitter.
I remember seeing him on Twitter. Yeah, I do remember him.
And you've seen his shows. But so I actually fixed the draw so he would face fucking them Elvis shoes in the first round. And honestly, we done the draw live on Periscope on the music. And as soon as I drew him against Elvis, it was like, you fucking wanker. I'm going to get beat off him, and you're making a show of me in public. And he was proper kicking off.
So what you're saying is you fixed the draw?
It was a corrupt draw, but not the draw wasn't corrupt as a whole. I just kept what I'd done was,
Your Honour.
Your Honour, I kept Dave's name in my hand. So as soon as Elvis got pulled out, I put my name in, and fucking sure enough, Reggie Dave's drawn away to Elvis Presley. But the amount of people that vote, I'm thinking, fuck me, what you voting for, eh?
It's funny, but sorry to cut in there, but I have got an example of a corrupt draw, John. We, Billy, you know the pavilion at Romford?
Yeah.
When it first opened, we had like a big crack in there with loads of owners. That Lily's Cocoa
Yeah.
and Warning Over was a syndicate. So all the syndicate, there must have been 40 or 50 of us. So we had a raffle draw, but there's a lad with us called Alan's brother Podge.
Yeah.
Billy, So Podge was there. They were all there, and when Lorraine was training at Crayford, she had a dog called Rushwee Manx. He was a right rogue of a hurdler. And Podge always used to say, that fucking dirty bastard. He always used to come and chimney me on the line. Right? So we got a picture of him and framed it and sealed it all up in a wrapping paper and all that sort of stuff. And we had the raffle. But we did a spoof raffle. We did 2 raffles. We did the spoof raffle. Of course, he had the winning ticket. So he had to come up and unwrap this picture of Rushwee Manx. He went, fucking bastard. He absolutely slaughtered him. That was
some good planning in that.
That was similar to what you did with the shoe off. Sorry.
But Pierre, that show off, it just came about by accident. It was like my mate will come down to the hotel bar on the Tuesday morning and we're going to the and I said, you fucking can't wear them. He had these like fucking, he looked like a security guard with these blasts. And then he's like, what do you mean? They're fucking better than them. So we ended up taking photos of them, putting them on Twitter. And there was like 684 people voted on who's got the best pair of shoes. I'm thinking there's fucking mileage in this. So then we were grabbing randomers basically and taking photos of the shoes and saying, would you like to enter a competition? A highly prestigious one at that. And you laugh because we got into Taylor's bar after racing, and I think I played George Burton in the final, and Chris Kamara was in, and I took Chris's phone off him, and I was like, I was getting him on Twitter onto mine to vote for my shoes. So, and I was basically that was my ploy. I was like sitting on the bus on the way back from the races. Oh, just vote for them ones, will you? You know what I mean? Because I think they're the best pair. George fiddled his vote as well. I think there was about 6,000 Russians voted for him.
Oh dear!
He'll tell you different.
It did become quite a thing, didn't it?
Well, it was just a bit of laugh, you know what I mean? But it was
a bit of crack.
People were just end up sending me pictures of shoes. If you'd seen my phone, if the police had got hold of my phone, with fucking 700 pictures of shoes on them.
Yeah.
Right, this next race, lads. What have we got? 8:38.
Sorry, Rosie's got very short now.
Yeah, I'll put dogs drawn all wrong in this race.
Yeah, I mean she's
the quickest,
the fastest dog of the race, but she's just back. She's desperate for red, isn't she?
Yeah, I can't. I think 6 is very well drawn, but she just
not quick enough, but drawn.
She's cost me a good few quid over the last few weeks.
She breaks brilliantly, and then I think she lacks a bit and then off the second bend she's so wide. I'll tell you, I took a chance. I haven't backed her because obviously I've had 2 bets tonight, but I thought Bang on Sonia.
Agreed.
Could have a big. She's. Let's be honest with you. If we're going by lines of form here, she back run Fire Paper on the 21st of Jan. Yeah. Fire Paper's going to win a 5.75, so that's no mean feat. Yeah. In a good time. Zari Rosie's edging across, and would you rather be on the inside? The dog's coming across, of course you would. And you put the shoulder in at the bend. I thought Glengard Daisy was impressive. I was at the track on Friday, and that was impressive again. But had a draw to die for. 5's edging in, and 6 has got a colossal draw. But I just don't know if she's quick enough. I just don't know if she's quick enough.
Well, I thought 3 and 4 they could come together at on the run up there, Bill. I agree with you. 1's well drawn. 6 is well drawn, very well drawn. I would play Smalley a 6 and 1 reverse forecast because I think the price has gone on 3. Quickest dog in the race, but you can let her win at 6-5, can't you? 11-10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I said, when I looked through this card, I thought most of the draws, most of the dogs in the races were all drawn completely wrong, and that's why I think it's been quite a tricky card. As I said, I backed Montrose, and that was left way behind. But I like this Bang on Sonia. I think she's all right. I think she's above average, and I know there was a few things on Twitter. She was the one that got left out the other day when she was a reserve in the bitches race, and I think there was a few people. I think Tony Bullen was moaning about it, and you know, if you owned her, you'd be fuming. You know, after winning a race, doing 24:15, and then being left out.
Yeah.
Actually,
Well,
they just followed me on Twitter, Team Bang On Syndicate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they might be worth a follow. But I mean, you're right, and again, I don't know. Obviously, you're with Jim, and obviously I've got one bitch, and she's with Jim as well. But
She won the other day, Peel, didn't she?
She did, yeah, she did. Yeah, she did. Bless her. And I sent her there for 540/714, and Jim said she has to have a trial, and then they rung him and said you could put her in the golden jacket if you like. So we did, and people probably think, what is that lunatic doing? Put her in the golden jacket, but it's really just to probably qualify her.
And to be fair, Peel, look, listen. How many times have you seen dogs qualify and get to finals and you think, oh, you know, you never put you take your chance, you know, couple of draws. She's a middle to wide runner, Peel. Is that correct?
She's got. I mean, she's middle. She's middle. She's probably got zero chance whatsoever. But I just hope she comes up. She's in against the anti-post favourite, for God's sake. But Warzone Tom's on her shirt. But she's been a fantastic bitch for me. Obviously, I own the mother. We bred her, and she's a complete lunatic fruitcake of a bitch. But she's lovely, and that's why I've just sent it to Jim because I thought that banging out over 714 in a graded race would suit her, not in the golden jacket. And the golden jacket is a fantastic competition. One of my most favourite, being a race manager there for 10 years at Crayford, it is my favourite competition there. It's just brilliant.
Lads, mind your bang-ons here. We've got bang-on Sonia, bang-on Sophie, and bang-on fucking trouble if we don't find a winner soon. So have you bet 6, Bill?
No, I've not had a bet.
Nah.
As I said, I find it tricky tonight. I backed Montrose, and obviously I backed John Do It Bomber, and that's my only bets of today. So,
well, I'm more of a degenerate than you. I'll be playing 6-1 small reverse forecast here just for it'll pay a big price, won't it?
Yeah, actually, I did Montrose in a Trixie with Zari Rose here and the previous short Baltiero, because I just thought actually the prices I backed them at were bigger than what I made them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And although, you know, I make Zari Rose slight shade of odds on here, I just thought she could get away with it. I took her on when she was in trap 2 because I thought she was desperate for the red, and she got away with it. And she beat Lessons in Life, who obviously you bigged up earlier on, Billy. So,
lads, PM makes a good point there in the chat. Trap 6 to place on the draw, you get 3-1 on Betfair. That is a good draw.
Yeah, she's got a great draw. Yeah,
3-1.
And she runs Romford well, to be fair to her. So.
You are the best team on the channel. That down. He's always had good.
Pimmel says John Great Crack should be on most weeks. Well, at least once a month. Tell you what, not been easy to get John on. Busy man.
Fucking phone never stops ringing. It's been ringing a few times. I'm just fucking them all off. I'll get them in the morning. And it's not people you want to speak to either.
It really is.
No, I'm not making out I'm popular. It's just people wanting money.
Good luck with your bets here then. 38. The bitches race here. John's gone for 1 and 6 reversed. Pierre wants Zari Rose for a double. Gates lift off from racing, and 2 is bombed out, and 3's crossed over the back of it, and 5 shows early pace. Hawthorne Polly goes to the front, and the favourites in trouble at the back of the pack as they go down the far side. Hawthorne Polly with a 2-length lead over Zari Rose now is trying to pick up. And then in behind these comes the 6, Beepers Hyacinth, as they turn for the judge. It's 5, Hawthorne Polly with Zari Rose lunging late.
She is class. She is
Polly,
absolute class.
Do you think 3's got up?
No, 5's won.
Yeah.
5 and 1.
3/4 of a length, easy.
To be fair, she's run a burster, to be fair.
Yeah. She's crossed over the back, isn't she, there?
Yeah.
Well, 3 and 2 did come together, but 3 still beat 2 at the bend.
She really wants to rouse badly, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Badly.
She's desperate for red. 1 or 2.
5 hasn't half come away, mind.
I thought 5 held on me. But...
Yeah,
that would've been a big
definitely.
price. But like we said, didn't we? We said that for all of them are coming across. The 5 and 6 really did have a good draw. They did have good draws, didn't they? Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5's held on.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's 5. Well,
You got
we'll
me excited
see.
there, Tom.
We can still be surprised. Question from Paul Wing. Have you boys got any opinions on how we can improve trap doors? With so many dogs in the wrong traps, there has to be a better way to make sure dogs get the right traps to make sure racing. We've talked about this a few times,
Yeah, we did.
And
Yeah.
having a preferred trap number, and getting that trap in order for the draw has got to be the preference. I mean, a race like this, I assume the racing manager is putting the dogs in the traps for the open races rather than drawing them.
No. So the racing manager only gets entries from the trainers who say their dogs are roused, middle, or wide, and then they go lumped, and then they're sent to the GBGB, and then they come back with the draw. But we did mention, I think it was on the toaster card that we did last Sunday, and again, Billy touched on it, and I like to listen to Billy rather than jump in and yeah. That was something that we discussed with Gary Noble, that if you give a dog a preferred trap draw, so i.e. his ideal box, so you might think, well, I don't really want 1, but I want 3, so my ideal box is 3. You're going to end up then with probably either a 2, 3, or 4, rather than the chance of being drawn in one where you don't want to be at all. So I personally think it would work, but as I said, I spoke to Paul Illingworth during the derby last year at Tosa, and he said he'd put it to the board in September, and I've heard nothing back.
You never know. Romford FA Cup update. Jack Bingham, 6-3. It's going to take a miracle for Fat Waz to come back from this. Mr. T. Welshie has only got 1 wrong tonight. Very impressive. Rammer, there you are.
Yes.
Justin behind him, in with a fighting chance. You've got Jack v. Glengar to turn it around.
Has Welshie been taking performance-enhancing drugs? Do you think that's an angle in for me?
It's just high off NFTs. It's just he cannot get enough non-fungible tokens in it.
Oh God! Tottenham don't come from behind often anyway, so I think we can write Fat Waz off 1,000 and running.
It's 400 quid, isn't it?
He's a good lad, Waz. He's a Twitter stalwart. So no, it'll be more than that one. 16 entrants, 320 quid, I think. Less than that. Then. Do you think 50 quid's a bit steep entry, Tom? Because I was going to do 50 for 16.
Considering you knocked out in the first round.
Aye.
With a second pick in races where you might have quite a short price favourite.
I know, but if you look at the people who are getting involved, they're all having 200 and 300 quids on fucking bets, aren't they? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
That's which way I look at it anyway. Right. What we got next? Oh, it's Wildcat Tony. That's my next best, but I think a few viewers have backed as well. You liked the Tom, didn't you?
I did like it. Yeah.
I
race with not a lot of early in it.
Yeah. Well, I think 2's got probably the best early in the race, combined with the draw. It's going to lead 1. You wouldn't want 5 turning anywhere near handy. That's done a lot of running last week, hasn't it, to come right off the pace. If 5 turns anywhere near, it's a massive player. But I just see 2 probably leading off, a little bit of trouble in behind, and 2 just hanging on to win, basically. That's how I'm seeing the race.
Yeah, I've done the videos on this race, and 6 is massively moving in. It moves massively moving in from it moves in big time from 5. He wants to be probably lane 4-3, and he's edging across. So I ain't got a clue what he's going to be doing from 6, and that's a big worry for 5. I think 5. She is a bitch. If I'm not, she's a fast bitch, but I don't think she's a wrong bitch. You know, if she turns second to any of these, I think she'll blow them away. But it's trying to get around the first bend is the hardest part. I thought One's much better drawn this week, and done some running last week from 4. Two's, I like to. I think 2's a nice pup. I agree with what you're saying. It broke well last week. 3's an interesting one because when I've watched 3 sometimes out of 3, it does edge right, then come back again. But then I've watched it again out of 3, and then it comes across. So it's a bit of a deceiving one where it flatters to deceive. I'll take a chance on 2. I think I see 5 to 1. It drifted
5 to 1.
5 to 1 because I thought I see 5 to 1 earlier on, maybe, but maybe I'm wrong. But no, I'm away up here, mine.
Yeah.
But as I said, I thought 1. There's been a bit of money for 1.
1 was 5 to 1 earlier.
1 was interesting.
Yeah, I think 1 was actually red was 6s with corals, and I did again circle that as a big price. But it was one of those where on debut you looked at all of her form, and she looks like she's slow away, and on a debut race, she was slow away, and she did try to show pace, and she was trying to move in from 4. So she was trialled out of 1. 1 looks to be a box, but it's one of those, Billy. It's a bit like, when you do your videos, you just think, oh, this will break one day. Yeah. But I'm not too sure when it'll be. But and I don't think he was too far behind Wildcat Tony pace-wise to the bending behind him, if you see what I mean. But you just don't really expect her to break.
No.
But again, she's that magical bow class. It could happen. Whether
she's
it's
a
going to
May
be
20
now,
as well, PL. She's a May 20 as well, so she's got plenty of time.
She can improve. Whereas Bernie's dogs probably had 15 races. So
10 runs, PL.
10, sorry, yeah. So
it's only a June 20 as well, PL too. So
so she can improve. And she to me, she looks like she's got a decent enough makeup here. And I agree with you about Luna Jezebel, although she was eye-catching, staying on. I agree with you, Billy. I don't really think she's a 400 Romford bitch necessarily. So, and I was quite big on Drumduit Junior last week, and although I knew she was in 5 and she was going to move in, now she's in 6, and that's even worse. So that's even worse for her, probably even worse for Luna Jezebel. So I thought good things could only happen for probably 1 and 2. So I was sort of 2 over 1, and like John said, worried about if 3 turned.
Yeah,
but prepared to take on 3 because of the poor draw.
Yeah,
that's the way I saw it.
Shall we have a quick chat about the Golden Jacket? Which starts very soon.
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
I'll put up the anti-posts. If I can find the window, I think it's that one.
The girlfriend's on the show tomorrow, so she's studying at the moment as we speak.
Yeah, Donna.
Yeah. Now, Warzone Tom, is Warzone Tom a competition dog?
I think he's one of them that seems to. He's a fast dog, and he seems to fluff his lines when he does the same thing more than once or twice. Me personally.
PL, I have the same thought with this dog as well. For me, and listen, I'm never telling Rab how to train a dog because he's brilliant at it. But I would, when he runs a place for a little while, I think he gets a tad stale. So for me, I think he would be one that, don't gallop him and take him somewhere else just for a sprint, just to switch him and then bring him back, and see if that works. Because every competition he seems to run, he seems to I backed him. For the first competition, he was at Romford. He was 5 to 1. He done a serious time. Yeah. And then I looked at the job. I thought, I'm cashing out because that was offering me a good cash out. So I cashed out, and then he got knocked out. Yeah. Because I thought that could happen. I thought he could be one of them where he could just get a tad style where you've had a few trials, and I'm not saying that you need trials around Romford and people to places like Crayford, but I think he might be one that you could switch. But
I think I think he's like that. It's that Romford thing where and Crayford where he's one of those dogs. I think, Billy, when he breaks, he really show good early. Yeah. When he comes out flat-footed, he doesn't really then gush to the bend.
No.
So that's where he makes his mistakes.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing we have to, put into perspective, and I don't keep bringing it up, is the track bias, because this competition last year, if I remember rightly, nothing on the outside lifted a leg. I think Kevin Hutton had 2 that never lifted a leg. He drove down with 2, and he knew by the morning meeting that, or the evening meeting or something like that the going was in, favouring the inside. I'll be honest with you, I couldn't get away from Sale Acres Pippi. I think she's a decent bitch. I think she's got decent enough early. Yep. She's mixed it with the best around.
She runs the track well.
Runs the track well. She's a good bend runner. I think she's class. And again, another bitch that I don't think gets the credit she deserves. Personally, I think she's above average. I really do. Yeah. And I think the trainer, has done well with her. I think he's prepped her well. He's given her enough looks at Crayford, and he switched her around, kept her fresh. I think I read something that she's a bitch that needs plenty of work. So they know her inside out. I thought nighttime Danny, would be a big runner. I think
that's my anti-post fancy. Nighttime Danny.
They would be my 2 really. I thought the running nighttime Danny does over 5.75 at Romford is monumental, and he could probably front up sometimes.
Antigua Love is an interesting runner.
We'd think about along the same lines there. I think probably Danny would be my first pick because he was a bigger price.
Yeah,
and yet, I'm the same as you. Sale Acres Pippi will keep qualifying. I just think Warzone Tom is good enough to win the race. He's good enough to win the race, and he warrants his position. But he just seems to make the odd mistake, and when he makes a mistake, he's vulnerable. Whereas Pippi would probably still pick herself off the floor and qualify.
Yeah, and she can do it both ways. Pippi, she's one of them. Do it from the front, do it from behind.
Whereas I don't think he will 714.
No,
I think he'd have to lead 714, wouldn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and he probably could do that. He has got decent enough early to do that. I know. Mr. Mullins is big on Shakira. He's always said that he thinks she'll be 8 bends. And he's always thought that, he put her in the 5.75, knowing that she probably gets tapped for a little bit of toe, but she's always made the finals, and it was always a stepping stone to take her there. So, Dave doesn't very rarely just, now and again, Dave goes to Crayford, and I think he thinks she's a massive runner in that.
And she ran well again, Derby final night at Tosa 712. So.
Yeah,
she gets the trip, and you're right, and she's probably just been gradually coming out of a season, and she'd be another one that would appeal to me. So those 3 dogs you've actually stuck up, they were the 3 that I was looking at. To be fair,
yeah, great minds in that PL, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. John, you're muted, I think.
So PL, just a quick, what's the best time you've had in Greyhound racing? Biggest crack, and
I think riding the wave with Roxo Magic. Really, I think going to a track and thinking she'll win tonight, and yet still. I mean, I remember going to Wimbledon. The Derby final, I think it was the Rio Quattro night when she won the Durando, and that was she was just an exciting. I think you'll agree, they're the greyhounds that you want to be excited about, Billy. So Roxo Magic.
They come around every 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
going behind here. John, I don't know what's happened, but it's something bad.
Yeah, we've got no volume for John.
Needs another pound in the meter.
It's a good race this maiden final, and again, £500 to a winner. This is what we like as well, Tom, isn't it? Really, for watching dogs from Friday to Friday. So
absolutely,
yeah.
You get to know them, don't you?
Yeah, the format.
I've enjoyed it the last few weeks. Good. Following them through the trials and competitions.
Really interesting runner for Steve Katz, who was the Blue Tuna man in track 1 here, Living Candy. Good luck to the finalists.
What price? 5.
And they're away and racing, and 5 Bears bombed out along with 6. Drum Do It Junior is going to lead off for Paul Burr. Cuts across the field. There's trouble at the back of the pack for the inside runners and the stripes. Drum Do It Junior has a 3-4 length lead over Luna Jezebel in second spot. Big gap back to Hunter Sydney. Turning for the judge. Drum Do It Junior. Picked him last week. Went against him this, and he's won it. 6 has beaten 5 easily in the end, and well done to Paul Burt. He's got the monkey. The Friday night, 500 have made the final goes to the Yarmouth Raider.
That was impressive.
Yeah, he wasn't really a break either. Really, was it? He was his natural early that took him to the front. Yeah,
that's the best I've seen 5 break as well, and he's destroyed 5.
He's destroyed them. Yeah, he has. Even the inside runners, to be fair, he's just absolutely blitzed them. And as I say, I thought he would lead Hunter Sydney last week, and he didn't. And I thought I was held up. That was an excuse, but I was the same as you in that I thought 5 to 6 was even worse for him. You know?
Yeah.
So, but he's actually, because 5's moving in, he's taken advantage of it, and they were well strung out really. And it was one of those where I went a week too soon.
Yeah. Peak too soon. Story of our life, POA.
Yeah.
He's a good trainer, though, that Paul Berg.
And a lovely fella. I swear to God, him and Penny, they're really, really nice people. What happened was we went, probably 3 years ago, we went for a holiday in only in Yarmouth, just with Lorraine's friend. And my 2 boys met us as well, and just to have a crack, you know. We went Yarmouth Dogs, and we went to Yarmouth horse racing as well. And we went down there and we took the dogs with us, and they looked after their dogs. When we went to the kennels are superb, but they're just really 2 really, really nice people. And again, Tom, you back me up on this. We were talking about where trainers spot where they go from like 4.62s at Yarmouth to 400 at Romford. There's a knack probably I'd put Derek Knight into that as well, where he goes the 515 to the some trainers have got a knack, and Paul Burr's got a knack.
Like I always think whenever I see one of Paul Burr's on the Romford card, you have to give him respect, because you know he brings the right type of dog to the track. Yeah, he's a master at doing
He does, yeah. Yeah, you can never write off his runners. Everyone's bought there for a reason.
So PL, just a quick one. What about your bias? You still think it's? Are you away with that now? Are you?
Well, I have to say, I fancy Bonville Jack in the next. I did give Best of All Time a squeeze with Scarlett O'Meara on the fact that, a bit like Drum Do It Junior there, they're all going across. Best of All Time could easily win at a big price, and in the last I was Drum Do It Bomber anyway. So yeah, probably it's not really probably going to affect my judgment on it, because actually I did play 2-1 in that previous race there, only on the fact that I thought they were the best drawn dogs, and I think I've got to be bum smacked, because what I said actually in commentary there, I was with Drum Do It Junior quite big last week, and I, like you say, I mean, again, you know, you watch videos the same as me. You see, I get the impression you've seen a lot of similar things that I've seen from watching the videos. And Drum Do It Junior would probably be better in 4, but because Luna Jezebel's gone across, he's actually got the raw pace to actually counteract that. And so you have to say, well, they can win draw middle to wide, but if you're a true wide, I don't know, you can still win, because look at the class of the Baltiero dog earlier on. So,
I always try and look for a wide running dog around Romford, because 9 times out of 10 you get your draw. Like we had with Kevin Hutton, we had a really good dog called Headford Kev. We made the Puppy Cup final, and we bought him out. We bought him out of Galway. I remember being there, and Kev said to me, "I've just had a phone call from an agent." He said, he's got a nice dog, one at Galway. It was in trap 2 that needs the wide berth, and it's run well. Do you fancy it? So I said, yeah, no problem. So we bought it. So I think it was, memory, I think we paid 14,000 for him, right? And I'll always be honest, we think we paid 14,000 for him. There's a few of us in now, got a few boys involved at Romford, and I love watching him. I backed him in his first race in a maiden, and then he won the puppy. But it was, I always seem to buy a dog when there's an absolute superstar. You know, like I always wish when I buy a dog, I think, you know what, this could be the year. It'll be weak. So I buy a dog for the puppy cup there, and it's Roxhome Nidge. So you think to yourself, and King Elvis in the final, we finished third, and you think, that's my fucking luck. So then I buy another one, and then Tempin, and you think, fuck's sake. And then I buy another one, it's Brookside Richie. You think, Jesus Christ, this is taking a piss now. So I thought, do you know what, I've got to buy a dog and put it with Dave. So in the end, I thought, you know what, Dave, I'm going to come and join you and try and put a dog with you and try and win something with around Romford, you know. But, you know, it's like I always, as I said, I've got Ritzy Rapid, who we bought out of Enniscoffey. Bit of a slow start with him when we first got him. Had a real bad cough and lost about 2.5 kilos of weight. And then as I said to you earlier, you know, me, Jim, Steve, and me and Gal, that they like Crayford, we like Romford, and we just said that. By the way, this was trying to split the dogs up. There wasn't any hard, you know, feelings. Obviously, Jim's my father-in-law, so it was always to be amicable. I said, look, I'll take 3. And to be fair, like our sourced Ritzy Lady, who finished runner-up in the Oaks. Yeah, you know, I was gutted. I was said to Ben, big gal who was having open heart surgery. I said, oh, well, I'm gonna let them have. You know, I don't want to take Ritzy Lady away from them, gal. Let her keep them. He went, are you fucking mad? He said, like, he went, you're going to kill me off already. He said, I'm on the table to have an operation. He said, and it was one of them. And we said that you keep her, and she finished runner up in the Oaks. I was at, you know, and I was watching it with Donna in Southend. We took the kids to, you know, Adventure Island, and we're sitting there eating donuts, and she's gone round in front. And, you know, I'm not one of these people, if I sell a dog or move a dog on, I don't wish the worst on anyone. I wish them the very best. It's not like, I was screaming her own because, you know, she's a fast bitch, you know, and she's in season she's just coming out of a season, and I think she's proved she's top drawer. She's got great early, you know. I watched her at Clonmel, and I think Clonmel's a front running track, and she was coming off the pace and, you know, showing all sorts of pace. And again, I know Kevin, obviously, he had Galloping Moon from the fella, and I run Kevin because I don't want to. Me and Kev are friends, and I run Kevin. I said, I'm not treading on your toes, Kev. I said, but I've seen a bitch, and she's a galloping bitch. And I know you have a real good working relationship with him. Are you in the market for this? He went, Bill, he's tried to sell me, and he went, but I'm not in the market. So I went, okay, no problem. And we were back and forth. I was at Billericay watching a game, and I was ringing the breeder, and I fucking take this and take that, and we're back and back. And I was thinking, and in the end, I think I ended up getting £500 off of what he originally wanted. But, you know, I love the fun of, you know, having a haggle with some of the breeders, and then them telling you to fuck off, and then me telling them to fuck off, and, you know, and I think it's all part of it. You know, it's a bit like fucking bargain hunt. And in the end, you know, we got her, and as soon as I see a trial around Central Park, I thought, you know what, you could be very, very good. And I said to Jim, look, put a wide tag on her. She's not, I wouldn't say she's a natural wide, but she breaks better from wide, and she chops in, she cuts across. She reminds me a lot like a bitch I had with Kevin Hutton, Ballymacberry, who made the Puppy Oaks final for Martin Lanny. You know, fast away, chop the bend, and go from there. And I think, as I said, I'm looking forward to seeing her come back to racing, because I think she's potentially very, very good. And I think there is a Cat 1 in her. She's got a phenomenal early, phenomenal.
So I noticed that because it's one of the dogs you've got in partnerships is with David, and Jim actually owns.
So what it was, we just typical, you know, being a lazy owner. I didn't change the ownership, and I remember watching your show, and you said this is a bit of a weird one. Jim Reynolds, Steve Taylor, and it was just basis on that we never really got round to changing the ownership name. It was always. It was with running with Dave, and then we thought, you know what, we'll change it now, and it made sense to do that. So, but as I said, like there was no real thing. It was just literally we just don't like Crayford, and they love Crayford.
Billy, I don't know whether you know, because obviously I've known Jimmy for a real long time, and when Jim was starting to train, I was assistant racer manager at Rye House. Yeah, and Jimmy wanted to start grading his dogs at Rye House, and being an assistant, you always you're there to mark the dogs up, and of course I was marking dogs up for Jimmy, and he just said, like, it's difficult to when you're starting up, you're kind of trying to get into a different thing, and I suppose I always got on with Jimmy. The first time I ever met Jim, my first ever dog was at Romford. The first dog I ever bought with some three lads out of when I used to work at Ford's in Dagenham.
Yeah.
In 1981. And we bought a dog and we put it with Dave Oswald. And Jimmy
it was his
used
assistant.
to work for Dave Oswald.
Yeah.
And that's when I first met Jimmy. And then those sort of years later, when I left Ford's and started, I was kennel hand during that, and I was assistant at Rye House. And then Jimmy wanted to grade his dogs on there. And then literally after I think I was literally a year to 14 months at Rye House, and then I got the race manager's job at Crayford.
Yeah.
And of course, a little bit further down the line, we took Jimmy on at Crayford as well. I think he's a gentleman, and again, obviously he lost his brother recently.
Yeah.
And again, his brother used to source in the dogs, and Jimmy. I think Jimmy's. You never use this word lightly. I think he's a master with the dogs, especially with young dogs. He's just so good at fetching young dogs on and improving them. It just,
especially around. I remember around Romford, you would have a dog in an A7, A8, and 9 times out of 10, one of them, and Peel Romford, it was always them Borner dogs, Courtside Nina, and all of them types of dog. Borner Shaney, who's laying on the sofa now as it goes, they all come through the grades, and he was a master at it, and obviously, he got sacked from Romford, and it was, it's hearsay now.
But I'm going to tell you something, right? I'm going to say something now.
Yeah.
And again, we've been in the game a long, long while ourselves. I'm a racer manager. I never felt that Jimmy Reynolds would take my trousers down. No. Never. I just knew that he would train his dogs right, to grade them right, to fetch them up in an upward curve.
Yeah.
And if the upward curve was steep, so be it. Because let's get it right. In the gambling industry, people want to see improvers. They want to see stars. They want to see the Westmead Hawks that run in A5s at all green. So they want to see that. I remember a dog that he had, my assistant race manager there was a man called Adam Gutman, and a lovely fella. His missus used to work for Paul Thompson. He was a trainer there. His mother, sorry. And he loved a dog when we were there called Seacon Flyer. His kennel name was Bob. Remember it? Like, this is in the 80s. Do you know what I mean? Or 90s, or whatever it was. But Jimmy was great at taking dogs from being a mediocre grader to being a toppie. And that's what attracts people to go to dog tracks. That's what got you to go to Romford all that time, to follow those dogs and follow their careers. So I don't know. What happened to Jimmy at Romford was, again, it was a
disgrace. It was a disgrace. And to be fair,
ridiculous.
And like I say all the time,
I know Jimmy too well.
Yeah, things happen for a reason, and I always believe, I'm a big believer in that, so it's just hard to take when and I think he was taking the young boys to the family, Donna's boys to Butlins, and then when it happened, you think to yourself, what a kick in the bollocks that is, you don't deserve that. And then he's cancelled the holiday, and it was just funny because he knew how to bring up through the grades. It wasn't
actually thinking about it, Billy. I think Jimmy contacted me to write him a letter as a to
like a reference more than anything.
Reference, and I did because I knew him from a 10-year period to know that he was as straight could be, and that was a frustrating part from my point of view, that he did end up. But I mean, and yet, and I know his frustrations now, obviously, because I talk to him every now and again, and because the bitch is there now. But I just think that sometimes that's what happens within our industry. There's loads of things that are wrong with it, and you we spoke earlier on. You can see as an expert in inverted commas with lots of experience, you can see what's right and what's wrong, and yet you just think sometimes you scratch your head and you go, Jesus Christ, how did that happen?
And I think
right, Jack. Sorry, we're only a couple of minutes from the office, so let's have a chat about this race.
Yes, let's, because I do fancy 2 strong here.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, I mean that 369 sectional, absolutely flying, running well. You can draw a line through the run the week before, and if that wasn't there, you've got 24.19, 24.14, 24.09 on the card. That's miles ahead of anything else in the race. 11-4 is absolutely huge.
Yeah, I made him 7-4 because I think he's just taking off the turn, and obviously you got to need the break, but if he gets the break, then he'll just surge to the bend, and I think he'll be 3 clear at the turn. I think Billy thinks that 1 could be some kind of runner.
Yeah, I just like 1. 1's been a very consistent dog around Romford for a long time, and obviously was with Maggie Lucas, now Paul Young. I just didn't think he run a bad race against, I think, an above-average type in Antigua Socks. I think Antigua Socks, if nothing does fly around Romford in the next few weeks, I think potentially could be favourite for the Golden Sprint. If I'm being honest, I think he could. It's an hard race. Look, as I said, I think the card's very. If you bring Carter Bar back, the Carter Bar from a long time, like 3 months ago, you'd be on fire. He'd be favourite in this, but drawn. Is he drawn right? Probably not.
Well, he is favourite.
Is he really?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, a lot shorter than 5-2. When he was in his peak of, he was 10-11 chances, 4-5. But I respect Derek Knight as a trainer. I do.
We Sydney's a decent type. 378 section on the card. 24-26. As you were saying earlier, Billy, quick wide runners getting their boxes.
Yeah, I've said it. I'm gonna stick to it. I do think I agree with you. I think 1 breaks better from 3 and 4. But I'm going to take a chance on 1 getting a pitch and hopefully back run 1. But if you're back 2, I've not had an interest. So PO, the Bonville Jack wins for you and Tom.
So do I.
Me and PL have had a few quid on this.
Well, good luck.
Here we go then. Come on, Maxine. Don't do it for me. Do it for your dad. And away and race. 2 stumbled at the boxes. And it's for the first to show. Carter Bar into the turn for Derek Knight. Goes round in front from Moortown Victor, who's turned second, but a long second because this is 5 lengths clear. Carter Bar is in a bit of a hurry here for the Hove Raider. Derek Knight still got that 4 length split back to Moortown Victor. Then in behind these comes Burgess Glengar, but up towards the line, he's back. Carter Bar wins it and wins it well. Was that professional, Tom?
Very professional. Through gritted teeth, as they say, Phil.
Painful and professional.
Yeah. But 2's, you've killed 2's killed himself out of the boxes. And, and listen, 1-4 breaks and he goes around like he's one of the best dogs around Romford. Yeah. And I know I was saying Antigua Socks might be anti-post favourite for the Golden Sprint. If this dog comes back to any type of form, he could be the Golden Sprint anti-post favourite. That was impressive because 1, as I said, 1 turn, not close, but half close, but he just got blown away by Carter Bar, and it was a good run.
Are you back, John?
I think so. Can you hear me?
We can.
I've had microphone issues. Technical assistant has been doctoring hours here to try to sort the job out, but I'll take that out of our pocket money, them 15 minutes what we've lost there, especially now Bonville Jack has been beat.
Oh, dear.
It's been a character building 20 minutes, that, lads.
Character building night.
Waiting for Wildcat Tony for over £1,000.
Oh.
And if Tony beat Trap 3, Hunter Sydney, that would have been 600 quid back. Couldn't even beat that.
The track Romford at the moment could.
It's been a character building 20 minutes.
Thames Lions.
I like that.
Yeah, agree. It can ruin a man, that Romford, sometimes on a Friday.
Some weeks you look at it, and there's a few obvious ones, couple of wide runners, little 372 section on it, and they'll pick up 2-1, 5-2. You whack 2 or 3 of them together, clear a couple of bags, and you think this game's fucking easy, lad.
Yeah.
And then the next week, it's just,
There's no consistency, is there?
There's none. It makes it very difficult.
No.
I mean, I was down Romford over Christmas a couple of times. All the pros who used to be there, I didn't see them. I don't know where they are now. Central, maybe?
Barbados.
A few of them have gone Central. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, you can't, as I said, you break like that, you're in a world of shit, aren't you?
Yeah.
What's
Pio, the way things are going that you back dogs this week, so you've got to back Bonville Jack next week. You have to after junior dog, you've got to go with it next week.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
have a Romford FA Cup update in a second. Make sure my spreadsheet's still working. Yep, we're looking good. Let's have a little go.
Yeah.
I'm meant to be running a business. All I do all day is sort out this spreadsheet.
I'm the same, Tom. I've got urgent phone calls coming through here from people trying to book work in on Monday, and I'm just fucking them off.
At least you got your priorities in order.
If I bet a few winners, I'll be picking them up, saying, "Oh yeah, do that a little bit cheaper for you, mate." Fuck that.
The king of crypto back on top. He will at least be in contention at the very end.
Where am I?
Jack Bingham, however, has won. Jack cannot be defeated.
Oh.
That was playing for pride only at this point. We called it early days.
Yeah.
So he'd made some rogue picks amongst his. Jack Bingham, the favourite this morning with Ramsey Bet.
I think it's the first time Jack's entered as well.
Strong start. Me and PL, evens on 6 points.
Where am I, Tom? Am I still in contention for that competition?
You are, yeah. No. You can't win. We've got Logan and Bomber. Okay, so Hare Running could come into contention. It's between Hare Running and Mr. T. Welshie. But Hare Running needs both of his selections, last two selections to win.
Harry 97 send a drink and is it a brick wall? Harry, it's about time. I'm going to have my whiskey with a little bit of bleach in.
Lovely, refreshing drop of bleach.
I like a little nip of whiskey this time of night. It always warms the cockles up.
Dangerous game. Well, we've got 2 races left. Yeah, we have Corin Logan v Scarla Amir in the next one. It's going to be an interesting battle, that.
You don't put Antigua socks in that, Tom?
Antigua socks as well. Very true.
Tom, have you ever been involved with the Old Trainers Championships?
No, I haven't.
I would say that was probably one of my best nights racing with Kevin Hutton when Kevin, I think, had 4 or 5 on the bounce at Central Park.
Was that sitting? Yeah.
Sitting Born, where it was, he had quite a few. Kev had Forrest Sarah and a few other good dogs winning, and it was a syndicate dog. A few of the lads got involved, and we had El Pedro had to beat Mark's dog in 4 for the last heat, and he's absolutely wanged the boxes and beat Swift Keith and the place was it erupted. I've never seen an atmosphere like it. I was around Kev's neck, and it was just one of them nights that I will never forget as an owner, like as a team sport. It was brilliant, and from where he was, first trainers championship to win 4 or 5 on the bounce, and we had champagne going. It was one hell of a night that was. And he's such a gentleman, Kev. He's so you can never ever, even if your dog runs shit and you had a dog and you feel like saying to him, that was fucking useless, that runs terrible. You just can't say it to him because he's such a nice man. You think to yourself, I really just want to say to you, that fucking dog was terrible. But you look at you, he looks at you and you think, I can't say that to you. I can't say it to you. He's just and a lovely family as well. Like, really, really lovely family.
Yeah, he doesn't speak ill of other people, which can't say for a lot of people in this sport. Yeah. He's a good fella. Jack Bingham, who's won the Romford FA Cup, he has very generously donated half of his winnings to our fundraiser.
Good man.
Well done, Jack.
Sheffield RGT.
Very good. Thank you.
Well done, Jack.
A significant sum of money, actually. I'm just trying to remember what was the entry, John? Was it 20 or 25?
It was 25, so
25 times 16. That's 4.
I'm having a whiskey now. 25 times 16.
400 quid.
Get your spreadsheet out, do the math. I haven't even worked out how we're going to do the prize fund yet, because the runner-up usually gets something, doesn't he? I thought you were sorting that out.
Do they?
Yeah.
Should we just fall? No. It's winner takes all in this game.
Yeah, no one remembers the runner-up. Winner gets it all.
So that is 200 quid to Sheffield RGT. I think we've raised about 300 so far. Bresbet, I think we've got another 200 coming from. So we're not far off £1,000 going to Sheffield RGT, which is
very good.
Fantastic for us lads getting drunk on a Friday.
Good.
Fair play to Bresbet for sponsoring the Shelbourne Easter Cup. I've sponsored a race night at Shelbourne with my company when we were trying to break into Ireland, and you get well looked after there.
That's the best restaurant by a country mile, food-wise. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it is.
Lots of early pace in this next race, lads, isn't there?
Yeah.
I think 2 and... Well, I'm half hoping 2 and 3 come together and 5 sort of gets a bit more of a clear run to the bend. I know 3 got inside 5 last week, didn't he?
Yeah.
But I think 5 will be 5 could be a win gone. Let me see. 2's got a clear 1 as well. You've got to think 2 will lead 1 up, haven't you?
Yeah, and 1's coming back from clearing trials after being DQ'd.
Aye. I just think 3's got a worse draw this week. I'd expect 3 possibly to turn 3rd here behind 5 and 2.
I thought 6 ain't about. I don't think 6 is out of this race at a price.
Me neither. I think 6 is massive. Again, another circle, 8 to 1, big price.
Because obviously 5 Scarla Amira has got great early. I like the dog a lot. But he's obviously edging across, and so is Best of All Time coming across. But I was impressed with this dog, and I still think there's a bit of improvement in it. As I said, like I said earlier on, I think all the dogs are drawn the wrong way round in some of these races, and it's been so hard to pick winners because you think, that's got a good draw, and then all of a sudden, bam, they're going straight across you.
Owner of Scarla O'Meara had an owner's bet on Scarla this afternoon at 3s, lads. Really fancy him. Hopefully not jinxed him.
Where's he got the 3s? That's what we need to be asking.
See, that's a big price. That's a massive price.
Stephen Potter fancies Logan to get inside Scarla O'Meara at the 3rd. Yeah, not beyond the realms of possibility. The Russian bot is back on, saying Sister 19 lol online. Again, at least keeping it legal. Ian Wilburn, watch along is like The Sopranos without the Russian interior designers. Next week, is it going being next edition? What is our next show, PL? I've lost count.
It'll be Next Wednesday, Doncaster.
We're mixing it up. It's going to be an absolute puntathon on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Peel, no excuses.
No,
That's your track.
You know what?
No,
I think we're going to have to bring the profit and loss format back
no,
for Wednesday.
no excuses. Actually, it's funny because I had a really good Monday and Wednesday last week. She said it's a shame it weren't on that week, and it was just like, you know, when you have those meetings where nothing goes wrong.
Yeah.
And then 10 days after that, Tom, we're doing a morning meeting with the Golden Jacket.
Doing
which
the
will be
final, aren't
good.
we?
Yeah. I mean, I was race manager at Crayford for 10 years, and it was always a really special because everyone was there. It was just a kind of different vibe, really, but it was a busy daylight meeting, really. And then you always kind of get people staying after, and that it's really good, really, really good. So looking forward to that for a change.
Tom, how are you going to cope? Am I right in saying that your wife's expecting a baby child?
She is in pup. Yeah. It will be a baby child. Yeah.
Oh, so how are you going to cope? How are you going to cope with Greyhound watch along?
We're having a month off. We're having a month off, which I'm sure will be plenty, and then we'll be back to normal.
Paternity leave.
Exactly that. I'm self-employed, so I don't get any through work, so I need it here. So no, we're going to take a break through March, and then if I'm not dying from lack of sleep, we'll be back in April, and we've got a nice run into both the derbies. It is my first.
Congrats, mate.
Thank you very much. Having a boy, thank God.
I've got two girls from a previous relationship, and then obviously I've got Donna's two boys as well. So we have 4. So it's absolutely trying to book a holiday. We went Lapland Christmas time, and we were booking it up, and she was going. I was like, "How much?" She said, "It's $7,000." I was like, "Holy fuck!" Just before Christmas, and then all of a sudden she went, "What I've done?" She went, "We're spending the same amount of money on the children." She went, "I bought the boys Xbox, PlayStation 5s." So I was like, "Fucking $560 each." So they've got 5. They've got. I said, "This is ridiculous." I was like, I need to speak.
Someone's doing all right.
I need to speak to Granddad Jim. He needs to start.
There's no value in being a parent whatsoever.
Nah.
None whatsoever.
And the thing is, I've got 2 girls, so when they start bringing boyfriends around, this is going to be if he likes Romford, he likes punting, he's going to be a great lad. I'm going to take him with me. We could get on well. If you don't like betting, football, anything, he's going straight out the door. I'm
the same, Bill. I've got 1 16 and 1 11. If the 16-year-old brings a Newcastle fan home, fuck me.
It's funny though, isn't it? Like, you build, like, I've met some real good friends, over the dogs throughout the years, and I met a fella called Dan Craven, and he was a Millwall fan, and he's currently out of the dogs at the moment because he's got a young family. But he introduced me to Gary Thompson, and Gary Thompson's a mad Millwall fan. He's like 6'6", his brother's 7'7", and they used to be like complete lunatics back in the day. And you look at the pair of them, and you just wouldn't mess with them. And it's uncanny how we just get on so well. Are they going in, right?
Oh. Yeah, going in.
Yeah, we better tip it. Who are we going for?
I'll take a chance.
You could back Logan and you could back Amira at these prices.
3 and 6.
I'm going to go 2-5-6 on the tricast.
Yeah. All in anyway.
Combination.
Getting out of stakes for me, the bottom. Here approaches. And away and racing. One just moves off and brushes into 2. 5 showing early along with the 6. And Scarlett O'Meara will go round in front from best of all time. Then in behind these gap back to Corinne Logan. And then we've got making ground Swift Cope into the 3rd turn. And 5 has a 2-length lead. Make it 2.5 length on best of all time. Scarlett O'Meara from Nathan Hunt. 4 is lunging late up towards the line. 5 will hang on from 4. Swift Cope got up the 2nd spot. Best of all time was only 3rd in the end.
Runwell 5. I tell you, it was Runwell 4. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Paul Burr again.
I might back Trap 4 to win the Gold Cup, Cheltenham.
Mate, you know, for that.
Five's got serious early pace.
I was surprised they didn't put this dog in the
You just
Northamptonshire
thought 2
sprint.
and 3 could come together, didn't you?
Yeah. Jesus, 4's took off. 5's run really well.
5 was always going to get a clear run to the bend, really. You had no early pace in 4, but geez, look at the running that 4's done.
Fair play to the fella that said he had 3 to 1 on 5. That's a great bet.
Oh, he come back in the chat and said it was his mate's Paddy Power account. He's either got a
That's gone.
or a Paddy
That's
Power
gone.
account, isn't he?
Well done, Simon.
We'll have to get Simon on soon.
Unless he's limiting it 400, is his limit.
Yeah, he don't want no further.
No.
I thought the first 3 have run really well, to be fair.
Yeah, nice
The first
doggies.
3.
I do like Scarlet O'Meara.
Yeah.
Nice
Who's
dog.
everyone's favourite RPG TV presenter?
Jason. Yeah,
Has
I
to
would
be,
say
doesn't it?
Jason.
Jason has a bit of a laugh, and he takes everything with a pinch of salt. Where you find like the people in Greyhound racing, especially at the forefront, they're all like very serious and they're very prim and proper, politically correct, so to say the right things. Where Jason, he's a little bit more off the cuff, and he's happy to take things as they come, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a. I know Donna enjoys working with him, and he worked with Jim previously back in the day, and he likes him. He said he's a funny character, and yeah, I would agree. He's a good lad. I tell you, we had a night at Romford, and Rachel, she was at Romford one night, and she come
left
out
now.
with us. Yeah, but she come out with us. We went for, as we call it, Ming Palace, as they call it, the old Chinese down the road. And she's fair play to her. She come with us, and she was. It was like 10 fellas, and she was the only woman. And we ran the round table, and if you know, it was funny. She was going around when we were saying to, if you had to say to someone one word to describe everyone, and she was going around, and you get like Jordan Ryan there and Billy Brennan. And the funniest thing was, she just said one word to express Billy Brennan, and she just said bullshit up, and it was the best thing. The table erupted, like literally. We bought her a bottle of champagne, and that was it. Like she was, it was. I never expected it to come out of her mouth, and it was brilliant. And Billy's face, he just dropped, and I thought, you know what, that was class. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I got a lot of time for her. She was a decent lass, to be fair, funny as hell. And we had some good times in that Chinese. We really have some.
It's a great Chinese, yeah.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, it's really good.
Do you ever go to the Indian PL, the old Gondo Raj?
That's over the opposite, yeah.
Over the road.
Yeah.
God. You knew you had a bad Indian, and the next day when you went in there after Romford, it wasn't the greatest place in the world.
And I know Youngie used to go in there quite a lot, didn't he?
Yeah, and a few of the racing post lads, Jim Austin, and all that used
Jim
to go
Austin
in there.
and St Pierre and all them. Yeah, they used to go in there. No,
Yeah.
I was more Ming Court man, me.
Yeah.
Or the blue orchid.
Trying to work out if I've got
Yes.
pieces of paper that's not on the floor.
There's been some big price winners tonight. If you found them, well done.
I've had
to
3
you.
winners, but still done me bollocks.
Yeah. Well, at least we can all get out on Drum Dirt Bomber in the next.
If this don't win, it's good night, Vienna. Yeah, beans on toast for the week.
Let's have a quick look at the prices. 2 to 1 or 13 to 8 in the match bet might be where the value is.
Yeah, you would say so.
Drumdewood Bombers 13 to 8 in the match bet.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Yes, that is a bet.
That's value, isn't it?
That is value.
You can't eat it.
John's pressing up.
Lads, I'm just gonna, cause it's a one of those face ID things. So I'm gonna log off for a second, get some of that value on.
It'd be 4 to 5 the time you get on.
Sorry, lads. Needs must.
No, I understand. That's where we are tonight. I'm gonna have a good lump on. Oh, that's too much. Oh, I've done it.
Yeah, it's all down to me as well. To the will we walk or will we ride stakes? I think for
Yeah.
do it by me.
As I said, I had £200 on Montrose, but this was the nap, and I'm not here to. I've had a monkey on this. You know.
Have you?
Yeah.
Not 2-1.
No. I took 11-4, 5-2,
11-4.
9-4.
Jeez,
Yeah.
well done.
I just thought it was too big this morning.
Yeah.
I done a crafty one, and James Price. I texted James Price yesterday on Twitter, and I said to him, "Look, can you just, what prices have you got up for tomorrow? For some of the races, and these are be Coral's prices." And I looked at the price. I thought 5-2. So I rung Big Gal and I said, "Fucking hell, Gal!" I said they've gone 5-2. I said I'll make this 13-8, 7-4, and he was like, "It's massive." So and then I thought, I won't say nothing. I'll just keep quiet and. I thought I'd just leave it as it as a moment, and all of a sudden I see Ladbrokes go up 11-4. So slippers was on, and I was out and about and trying to get as much as I can, and then Coral, and then I was driving around, and Big Gal was getting on as well. With I think his wife's account was getting used, and it was we were trying to get as much on as we can as a pair, and
5-6 now. The Shrewdies have taken all the value. Go on, lads.
I just it might
Billy,
listen.
Billy, you say because I actually made Drum Do It Bomber 13-8 myself. Did you make Drum Do It Bomber favourite or who was the danger and who did you make?
I thought 5 was a danger on the draw because obviously 4 is going to be edging over.
Yeah.
And I thought she ran okay last week, Antigua Princess, and I thought she ran really well. But
yeah, she was a bet for me last week.
Yeah, and Big Gary back to last week when we was at track, and I left her alone. And but this race, I just looked at this race, and I think he's again. Paul Burr has had a good night. I'm hoping it continues.
Yeah.
And I like this dog a lot. I think and I'm not disrespecting Paul Burr here. I think if this was trained by a top 6 trainer, I think a lot more people would talk about this dog because he's beat Culavani Auntie. He run up the arse of Dapper Rodney, and I do believe if he was on the inside of that final one last week, he would have gone round in front.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I think he can lead 1. I think he can lead 3.
Yeah, I must admit, I thought the same as you, and I kind of made 2 and 5 very, very similar prices, and obviously when they go 11-4 and 11-8, and then you have to go with what you think, and that was me. Yeah. So although if I get beat by Antigua Princess, as I say, I back to last week, I hold my hands up.
Yeah.
At prices, I have to go with what and obviously I've seen the same as you, and I have to go with 2. So.
Yeah, and as I said, look, don't get me wrong, she's a fantastic bitch, and I really respect her. And listen, Droopy's Edition is no back number, but he's getting on a little bit now.
I think he's just looking after himself on the bend as well, and I think because there's speed around him, then that's even worse for him. So but you're right. If you went smash and cleared, then you'd be worried. But I don't know whether you know, Billy, the first watch along we ever did. I think
this is when you all lumped on Droopy's Edition, and
on Droopy's Edition, yeah.
Is that when it led and got picked up by was it Luna Prince?
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah. So it was. I just think this dog's still improving. This Drum Do It Bomber, and I like him. I think he's.
No, he's surprised. He has surprised me, and again, you speak about dogs being suited to certain tracks. He seems to be suited to Romford, doesn't he? That's the difference. So.
And
unfortunately, they pulled the match bet.
They didn't pull it. They cut it. I've had a text from Fresh Bet. I think 13-8 was probably the wrong price.
I thought that as well. Yeah,
I think I've held the hands up to that.
Is there any price on it now?
10-11.
I couldn't find the price.
10-11. Yeah.
But I was like UPL. If I get beat by 5, you hold your hands up and say, "Yeah, she's a fantastic bitch," and or any of them really, But I just, whenever you're looking at a card or you're looking at a race, you're always looking for that edge on the draw and watching videos. And I just thought he was. You look at the form and people go, "Oh, he got beat 8.5," but it wasn't an 8.5 performance. If you look at his pace to the bend in the wrong draw, And I had the conversation with my pal, and I said, if you put Culavani Auntie in track 2 here, what price would she be? And he said 4 to 5.
Yeah, agreed.
And I said to him, well, he's gone to the bend with that.
Yeah, he has. Yeah,
You know, so
it's true.
You know, and you're only trying to point out things. You're trying to identify prices, and look, if it's the wrong price, you need to take advantage of it. I think 11-4 was way the wrong price.
He's just one of those dogs that probably was underestimated because he actually is running with really good dogs at Romford. He's showing good speed to the bend.
Yeah. As I said, like even the run against Dapper Rodney, I still don't think that was a 35-40 run by Dapper Rodney.
Yeah.
And the going on the inside was absolutely dead that
day. Good comment here. People remember where they were for 9/11. I'll remember where I was when Troopy's edition got chinned.
That actually is. Yeah, I think we all do. Yeah, jeez.
It was the right way to start this venture.
Yeah.
I'm half open 5 beats too now, having missed that huge value.
That's the spirit.
Strongly worded email to Bresbet in the morning to air my disgust. Could they not see the panic I was in, surely?
You done a 350 split, you was gone. Talking about
I've cleaned up the sciatica.
Yeah, I did. I thought that. You don't see them sort of splits anymore, do you, around Romford? Like the 350s and them types of, they were. Oh.
Nah, you don't. 356, 357 splits.
God, there were some good dogs going around there back in the day.
Why is that?
I just think probably change of the trap mechanism and stuff like it. Is it PL? You might be better to tell us. We got in a racing office. Why would the sectionals be so different now? Is it obviously the change of side?
It could easily be. I must admit, when there was a big overhaul at Crayford while I was there, went from the outside McGee hair to the Gavin Smith system they got now, and when we started the trials back, because I knew the dogs inside out, what I did was for the trials, when we started trials, I put dogs that I knew inside out, and then I got the lads to, because there's a timing mechanism that when the button releases, I got them to try and alter it and wind it in. Yeah. And that's what we did. So, but these days, I don't think they really care. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But like you say, it's a bit like what we said at the top of the program, Billy. It's like that old school, the nostalgia that I don't think anyone really, they're not worried about it now. It's just like, what can we get out of the sport? And whereas we're, steeped in history, I think that's kind of important. I don't think too many people place that much importance on it anymore.
They're going in.
Yeah.
Come on.
Big race. Last race is a big race. Tom, this is what they want. The last race, the big race.
Come on, sir.
Just smash
We've been bigging him all night as well.
I'm going to go and sit on the sofa of shame if it doesn't go well.
The Greyhound Make Great Pet Stayers Stakes.
Oh, I just missed it.
Good race, this one. And away and racing, and 6 has bombed out on the wide outside. 4 showing early pace into the turn, got crowded mind, and 6 Wastehouse Izzy goes round in front from the 5 Antigua Princess. Then comes 1, 2 Circuit to Race. Stripes. Wastehouse Izzy for David Mullins with a 4-length lead from Antigua Princess, who's trying to close into the penultimate turn, picking up his Drum Do It Bomber in behind runners with a world of pain in behind. It's 6 from 5, who's now challenged on the outside. Wastehouse Izzy from Antigua Princess up towards the line. Tight. Probably just Antigua Princess. Desperate.
5-6-2.
Bomber.
Oh,
that's racing. Oh dear.
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
It couldn't break any worse, could it?
No.
Tom looks like he's caught my sciatica.
Oh.
Well, Bres better saved me about 600 quid there.
That was on the break, and then last week, and she missed it last week. Wastehouse Izzy, to be fair, she missed it, and she's run against one as well, a kennel mate, on numerous occasions. So there's not too much. It looks like I would say Drooper's Edition has gone lame there at the back, and he hasn't been running well, and he's just been running below probably his ultimate best. So I would say, unfortunately, that might be a spell on the sidelines.
Shame,
for him.
to be fair.
But
yeah, I think that would be retirement PL.
Could easily be. But here,
he's getting.
You think kind of 5 are going to win, and yet Sixes moved off, took 5's ground, and 2 had a glimmer of hope on the inside, but.
Just taking a call from Bresbet, who've assured me my account is safe after that.
What about mine, Tom?
Unbelievable.
Tom, can you just
every smash out gets beaten by a short head?
Would you just like to take a moment to explain your emotions there, Tom? It's best to get it out.
So it's not often you get combined emotions of sadness and rage. This sport is the only place you can be angry and sad at the same time.
Wait till that band's born.
Not only have I had a good go at Drum Do It Bonner at 3-1, I've also backed him in
the place market.
In the no, not in the place market, in the match bet against Antigua Princess.
Oh no.
And we got beat at short head there as well. So I've done it 2 ways.
I'm going to ask my technical assistant if she can block Bresbet on this phone.
They tempt us in. Good piece of. I'll tell you what.
As we said,
I think they fucked up, but that's a good piece of bookmaking. Right, let's have a look at the final of the Romford FA Cup. Miss T Welshie has won. I don't know if you've got a Bresbet account, Simon. If you have, can you message me, please, so we can sort out your free bet? John, you've come second. Joint second with Pro Racing and the legendary Alan Southern. Jack
Tom, should we stop on air for stateside?
Yeah. Get out of jail.
Oh, stop.
Wouldn't be the first time.
You couldn't ask for a worse break there, could you? You could not worse for after break.
No, well,
yeah. How it's not even cleared one to the bend is beyond me. Is beyond me. And then Six has done us a favour. It's like anything. It's given us a glimmer of hope because Six has booped into 5, and then I think I'm beat, and then I think, I've got another chance, and it's just thought I'd rather 5 go and win by 5 lengths. Just kill me. It's just
yeah.
Oh, we love it.
Could be worse. I could be a Spurs fan. Could be a Spurs fan. Could be worse. Fuck my life.
I'm a Sunderland fan, Bill. I can't get any worse.
No, to be fair, you've got a point there. To be fair, and you've got you're a Sunderland fan with sciatica. You're in a fucking world of shit. I tell you. Put you down now, pal.
I need to replace my technical assistant as well.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Oh, but no.
Anyway, lads, it's been great crack. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, good time.
It's all down to Doncaster next Wednesday week.
Oh, is that where we are?
Week of Wednesday.
Is there no toaster on Sunday?
No.
No.
Never, ever again.
Oh,
was it that bad?
Next Wednesday? Wednesday the 9th. It's not too many sleeps.
I bet that was the stress last week, Tom, was it? Not knowing what time the races were going off.
We got an email through from SIS, so we did know. But yeah, initially it was a bit. It was interesting doing another track. I think Toaster showed what it was as a track on Sunday. Probably a fair assessment.
Lads, I'm going to have to bring the technical assistant in. She wants a bit of credit before the show ends.
Yeah, go on, bring her in.
Name check.
Here she is, young. This is young Ellie. Hang on, get you in.
All right, Ellie.
Ellie, you ain't got a tenner to lend me, have you?
What's
have
that?
you got a 365 account, Ellie?
Yeah, I need a tenner.
We'll have to lie about a date of birth, but
yeah, perfect.
Bet 365 account on you, darling.
Thanks, Ellie.
Cheers, Ellie. Right, that's it for this week. Thank you very much, Billy. Thank you
Cheers,
very
lads.
much, John. And
Yeah,
me
thanks,
and
lads.
PL
Thoroughly
will
enjoyed
be
that.
back on
Pleasure.
Wednesday.
Well,
Best
well.
weekend.
Good weekend, gents.
Thanks, John.
Bye.
Cheers, all.
Thank
Bye.
you.